you getting yourself ready for our show?
Alrighty, guys, we have one hell of a show lined up for you. Bobby Roast Beef here for Jigs and Bigs. We got something awesome all set up ready for you. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We have two guests this week in our show. We got Doug Sousa from the Springfield Sportsman Show. We're going to check in with him, find out some of this cool stuff that we have lined up for the Springfield Sportsman Show coming up at the end of February. We also have great info to pass along about the upcoming 2024 season of the multi-species scavenger hunt that's going on Fishing Chaos. You're not going to want to miss out on that. We have some news about how 2023 was in fishing terms for Massachusetts. How did we fare? Were there any real bigs caught? We'll find out, and we're going to review what the records are for the state. We have Marc Sorano from Heat Your Meat in the official beef seat this week. We're going to talk all things Heat Your Meat. Let's just go ahead and say it's going to get spicy this week. I got all kinds of great stuff lined up for you. I got Shawn the Fisherman with us. I got, who the fuck is Joe Brown in the house? We are all caffeinating and trying to hold this shit together, guys. And we got one hell of a fuck this guy for you this week that you're not going to want to miss, guys. We'll see you in a bit. Don't go too far. Much more Jigs and Bigs action coming up right after this. You know, I would say, considering that I legitimately woke up 58 minutes ago and here we are, that like fake energy sounded pretty good. I would say I'm going to give myself one of these. I got mugs on mugs on mugs, baby. Let's talk, dudes. How has your week been? How have you recovered from that post 200th show glow that we had? I had it.
Recovered.
The 200th show was awesome. Thank you to everybody involved. I have a shit ton of prizes I still need to get logged in. I've been trying to put together a chart of who won what, and some of that does include going back and listening to the descriptions in the show of the prizes, so I know. Because some of the things, like the pictures, we have a bunch of pictures, and I'm like, who got what? So that's why I'm trying to like figure out what goes where. Man, what a freaking crazy week. It was a good show, but there's always like that lull after like a big event. You know what I mean? There's a dip on the back end. You pack everything up, and we left. We do have more information about the show, but we'll get to that in the second segment. This week was wild because Monday happened, and I just kind of hit the ground running. Like, I have had a fire under my ass about trying to get as many people signed up for the 2024 multi-species scavenger hunt series that's starting in April, and I just want to get the word out so we can have as many people going out and doing this as possible. In fact, that's sort of going to be my MO at the Sportsman Show, is talking a lot about that, some of the changes and stuff. And we're doing our part to kind of make that happen. So I've been putting together creating a shit ton of content. Only a fraction of it has been released. I've got prizes that have been coming. I've been prepping for the next big show for Jigs and Bigs. Joe and I, we're going to be at the Columbus Expo with Dark Horse Tackle at their booth. I'm going to be recording and creating a shit ton of stuff there. That's going to be awesome. Joe, there may be some. This might be a little bit of. You might be going through a second era of boot camp in a way, as far as learning how to engineer and record some shit, because you might end up recording some stuff by yourself, unless they're going to install a shitter like right there. And I don't know that it's that good for plumbing.
We might even get weird and have Meg break out the camera and do some video as well.
Oh, absolutely. We should 100%. There's going to be, and I know we're going to be doing some live streaming and stuff, especially when we don't have like a guest that we're recording in the seat. We're going to have plenty of stuff going on, and I'm stoked. I've been talking with folks about. I think John Hagens was recently messaged me, and he'll be over at the Columbus show. Roadkill Nick's going to be there. There is talk that some of our past guests that are in the Midwest will be making their way over there. And I'm just stoked. I'm really excited. I think that the Old Fields event is going to be amazing. That's on Saturday, February the 10th. And it's starting at 7 o'clock. What we're going to do is just kind of have like a real loose kind of casual social hour. Let folks get like gathered in. And that's a good opportunity. If you want to get if you haven't been entered into the raffle or the giveaway, to get yourself entered. So we'll have a screen up that'll be displaying a QR code. You can enter and everything, but you could actually enter right now if you're not going to be there, because this giveaway / raffle is, it's open to everybody. So you don't even have to be there, much like the 200th show. And we've already had some folks, getting their tickets already, which is awesome. So there is a link, on jigsandbigs.com. There's a little banner, about the Columbus, raffle entries, and there's also on our Instagram profile, in our link, the link in our bio there on our link tree, you can go ahead and click that sucker, and it's $20 per ticket. You get 40 entries into the raffle, so you can buy multiples, do what you want to do. It's going to be really, 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 really good. Vidal chimes in right here. He goes, hey, any reviews on that reaction tackle backpack? That's coming, Vidal. It is. I just need more bank fishing weather. Really, that's what that's going to get used for. I've been kind of outfitting a little bit. I've been thinking about maybe doing a video and putting a reel together to put on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, so that, you know, you guys can see how I'm setting it up and everything, but I'm not 100% sure. And there's no like putting it to the test fishing wise, because I'll tell you what, today I went outside. It's 9 degrees when I woke up and took the dogs out. Like, if you need anything engraved, guys, my nipples are available, and like I can glass work, you name it. You want your truck pinstriped? You got a nice new truck, Joe. You want some nice pinstriping on it? I got you. Probably not. Probably not. You know, you don't need fucking, you know, if you're calling anybody to get topless, it's Topless Timmy Jakes. You know, I think that's what it's all about. Right. Topless Timmy Jakes has been in touch. He was like, I heard I won something. I was like, oh, you won something, all right. But don't you even think about wearing it during your fish pictures. Don't even think about it. Because I still have your calendars, boys. I have both of your calendars. Yeah. So I gotta get you your calendars, because that's a thing. For those that don't know, there is an official Jigs and Bigs Jigs and Bigs Fishing Report Team Topless Timmy Jakes calendar that has been coming out pretty regularly. Oh, look at this. You know this guy, Joe. Hitting the ice. Look at that. Enjoy that. There are folks out on the ice, which is kind of insane, because it's not up to my standards, we'll say, where I'm comfortable going and getting out on the ice. It's a little bit too early, and it's supposed to warm up, the last I heard, as the week goes on. So I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to stick around for.
I don't think we're going to hold on to the ice very long.
I might have fishable ice in my house. I have to check if I can ever get a chance to. Yeah. It's been locked up pretty good the past few days. So
that's exactly it. Like, it's past couple of days have looked pretty solid. I had gone out. Well, let's just do the week in review. Find out. I'll go ahead and start. I have this week, like I said, I've been working on a lot of stuff for the Columbus show and put the tickets together for the raffle entries and everything. And I got another question when I released the link. They're like, dude, why are you doing all of the ticket sales and everything on Eventbrite? And I was like, it's because I need a platform where people have to give me their email address so I can send them the prize. If they flake on that and they just buy the tickets, I'm going to feel like a piece of shit because I don't necessarily know who it is. So this is one of those deals where it works out really well. So I'm just using that platform because it's what I'm comfortable with. And it gives me all of the information about the folks that are purchasing tickets. And the nice thing is, as an order comes in, if I'm like, I'm not sure who this person is, or if they buy multiples or something like that, if they're, doing them from, what do you call it, for multiple people, I can reach out and adjust the raffle so that the names are the right way. That's what I did for the 200 show, and it worked great. All of the names were all worked out. In fact, some of the names where I was like, do you want me to use your real name, or do you want me to use your Instagram handle, or such and such, or in the case of Cinnamon Rim Jobs, your trivia team name, shit like that. So I can kind of customize a little bit, which I like. I like custom shit. I did go out yesterday and record some content, an unboxing for Reaction Tackle. Reaction Tackle this week sent a package over, and we're doing something cool over at the Oldfield show. Reaction Tackle gave me about 50 or 60 of these small spools of braid. There's 10 pound, 20 pound, and I think there's a few 30 pound spools in there as well. And what Cody had asked me to do, he was like, hey, at your show, he's like, could we use these as like a promotional item? And I said, absolutely, you can. Like, go ahead. And I said, we'll give it a cute little name and everything. I go, let's call it the Reaction Tackle Braid Challenge. And I had recorded some stuff. I mean, dude, when Shawn the Fisherman puts the check on the box of Reaction Tackle Braid, I feel like that says something, because Shawn can be pretty particular about the items that he uses, and that's a good filter. I think that's a really good filter to kind of get some good info. So I had done a little unboxing there. I had decided there was a trail that I kind of wanted to check out that goes through a tiny little area near us, and I just kind of was like, let's go play in the snow. So I put the 4Runner in 4-wheel drive, and we had gone through, but I had gone by the Connecticut River, and I did see some people around Oxbow on the ice, and I'm like,
they're gonna die.
Is immediately what I thought.
Did they have planks, like 2x6s, bridging the gap between the shore and
I thought of that.
ice?
I was like, do they have a bunch of what do you call them? Pallets laying down on the ice to kind of make a bridge getting out there? Like, what's going on? And I couldn't see anything like that. I mean, I will say this much. They had gear all over the place, so they very well might have been walking on lumber to get there. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm not necessarily thinking I'm going to be getting on the ice. Like, I need to know, I've got to get reports of like a good solid 6 inches before I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go get on the ice. Let's do it.
That's what she said.
That's very true. What else did I do this week? I mean, I worked my ass off this week. I was all over the place. Had a amazing week of trivia, which is awesome. I do have, and I have all kinds of crazy bookings coming up. Like, I got a bunch of random dates I've got to take off for other stuff, and there are all types of different games. So I'm okay. So I've been buried as far as work goes. This week on my agenda, I want to get some folks out. I want to get prizes started to get shipped out to folks, because there are some folks that are all around the country I need to ship to 100%. The local ones, I actually would rather just drop it off. If I can make it a point to get them out there, I'd much rather do that. Dan Griffin's reporting 4 to 5 inches in Central Mass. They're getting there.
Also what she said.
I think that we're getting there. But again, like with the way that the weather has been up and down, who knows? Right now this is ice making weather, but is it going to stick around, and how long is it going to be safe for? I'm not 100% sure, but let's go ahead. We'll dive into your weeks, guys. How have you been? How's everything been?
Good. Been doing a lot of scheduling and trying to figure out what tournaments I'm going to do and when. Yeah. So I'm going to do a couple. I think I'm going to do a trip in maybe even next month. Probably one in March, maybe April down south. So we'll see.
Nice, dude.
Hitting some ABA tournaments, and thinking about doing 1 or 2 MLF tournaments as well.
Really? No shit, dude.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
When now, because you were in last year's ABA championship, does that open up some of the potential that you have to enter some of these remote things? Like, did you need to qualify there in order to get to that next step?
Yeah. So I made so there's a league. It's the top 150 solo. I made that. Unfortunately, cool. They're just like they're all over the country, so I can't really make too many of them this year. I'm going to try to 2 of those is what I'm trying to get into, is as well as their new pro series that they launched this year. Which you also need to qualify for, which I did last year. But yeah, we'll see. I'm going to try to hit maybe Chickamauga.
Nice.
Yeah, I might go hit Hartwell again, and a couple others. We'll see.
If you're going to be in Chickamauga, if it makes sense, you should hit up Talk and Tackle for your lodging.
Oh yeah,
that tackle shop.
True.
You would love that. You would walk in and you'd be like, fuck, it's like OGO, but like with living space and like beer. It's like holy shit.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's pretty slick. Yeah, it'll give you nostalgia vibes for sure.
Oh yeah, yep.
It's freaking dynamite. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, it is. This is the time of the year where you're going to start looking at the calendar and saying, hey, these are the things that are going on. I have to get on that and start getting some trips concrete. The only thing that I've got concrete right now is my trip to Jordan Lake with the Jabberhammer, which is awesome. By the way, speaking of the Jabberhammer, did you guys listen to the Easter egg at the end of last week's episode?
I did not.
Oh, no, God, it was great. It was so good. So good. It's a nice little message from us. And I don't know I'm pretty sure he did out himself as drinking some White Claw surges around the campfire. That's the other thing about the Jabberhammer. He's been out camping lately. Paul has been like in the woods. I'm wondering if everything's okay. Like if his wife kicked him out, like what's going on? Because he's been out in the woods constantly. He's like, oh yeah, he was doing like a jet boil like review and shit like that. Freaking, it's shit that's right up my alley. I'm like, there we go. That's fucking awesome. So that's about the only thing that's like really like super, super concrete as far as having dates goes. My February's getting fucked. Like I have so much work coming in. It's crazy. But how about you, Shawn? What's going on with you?
A lot of basketball this week. And one of the little adventures I had with basketball tied into fishing, a hair, or just a nipple.
Okay. A nibble.
Just a nipple. Right. Because, a couple nights ago, I had to go scout a game for a team we may or may not see down the road. Just so happens that team was playing at the school that Topless Timmy Jakes is the trainer for. So I got in and beeline for him, and I haven't seen him in a long time. He's actually doing well, just getting over some respiratory stuff like most of the country.
Yep.
But I haven't seen Tim in a long time, and no, it's good to chat with him for a bit. Yep. Other than that, I mean, congrats to the high school team that I'm on the coaching staff for. They punched their ticket to the state tournament for their division, which was nice. And then the fifth graders got a wake up call because they got put in an upper division and they're getting their asses handed to them. And I told them that you got to try.
That's what happens.
Say. We're at practice learning stuff. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to do my own fucking thing on the court. And we're learning some lessons. But no, other than that, it's been just busy running around, trying to prep for spring, but not happening, and see how this goes.
Nice. Fucking A, man. Yeah, I spoke to Tim, and he told me he was under the weather, which sucked, which is actually a big reason why he wasn't able to make the 200th show, which, to be perfectly honest, was a big reason why there were a number of folks that had tickets that weren't able to make it. So that's it's the time of year, though, man. It just fucking sucks. I will say this. One of the things that I had thought about over the last week, and it crossed my mind really, like even the next day after the event, is one thing that always happens when you do these events. You get that influx of messages of folks that weren't able to make it. They're like, dude, congratulations. We'll see you at the 300th. Well, you know what? I'm fucking sick of having to wait 2 years to do these events. I really am. I'm sick of having to wait 2 years in order to do these because it just puts all of this like ridiculous, like, oh yeah, well, there's too much of a gap I find in between. So I think what we're going to do instead is this. I'm going to start planning for an annual Jigs and Bigs holiday party. Take advantage of the season. We're going to streamline some stuff. We learned a few things. I think it was 2020, Shawn, when I first brought up the idea of doing a game dinner at some point. I don't think that's a platform. I just don't think it's a platform. I think, truthfully, I think it's a little too expensive to be able to throw that ticket out, especially at that time of year. I mean, based on when we started the show, when we hit those monuments, milestones, like it's just going to be too expensive of a ticket. I know that's why that this, like, on a promotions level, this was an A+ for getting the word out. Everybody knew about this. Do you know that our ticket sales page was viewed over 3,500 times?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Over 3,500 times, which is 100 times more than the actual tickets that were sold. So, like, the advertising, the promotion was there. It was 100% just like it. So I'm chalking this last bit up to an experiment.
We had our little experiment.
Now we're going to go back to something that we know that works. So the first Jigs and Bigs annual holiday party is going to be at back at Nathan Bill's, and we're going to streamline the food situation and significantly reduce the ticket cost. And I think that it'll be a good thing. It'll be kind of fun. And we may incorporate like a white elephant, element to the room or something like that. A Yankee swap, maybe. Who knows? It's just going to be fun. It'll be a good time. So, hey, it is what it is. So we'll have information. You're probably going to be hearing about this like about sometime in early fall, as far as what the date is and everything else. Because Bobby Roast Beef likes to be on this shit. And I'm really looking forward to. I've been doing some tweaking. I don't know if you guys have listened to the show, but I actually think that the audio, aside from some of the mic feedbacking shit, and that's mic technique stuff, we can work on that. I think the audio actually came out really, really good. So I have a really, really strong feeling about this Oldfield show, recording everything right there. I think this is going to be unbelievable. In fact, there is a lot of possibility that I'll be just selecting a guest from the Dark Horse Tackle booth. Like if we get like a really, really good interview that's just, fun and like, I don't know, I'm going to sit down with an hour and a half with any one specific guest, but I might string something together like we did for the Sportsman show. And we're going to have something pretty awesome set up there too. So you guys aren't going to have to sit through that. You're going to have to listen to the actual show once it's done, but that's some good shit. Let's talk, guys. Massachusetts fishing. And I kind of wanted to talk about this because there's a lot of folks that have this, and even folks in the Northeast that'll say, I caught this fish. That's really good. And they put a little qualifier there like for New England or for Massachusetts or for whatever. And, there was a story that came across. This was just yesterday. It caught my attention. And my former employer, WWLP, Channel 22, had put a story out saying that the headline was the Massachusetts record for largest fish caught broken in 2023. And this story goes like this. Every year, the Massachusetts Department of Fisheries and Wildlife reports record-sized fish caught throughout the state. In 2022, 4 record-sized fish were caught, and 3 of those were caught in western Massachusetts. However, Mass Wildlife told 22 News that there were no reports of record-sized fish caught in 2023. Last year was a chaotic year for fishing, with the constant flooding throughout the summer along local rivers. If you think you've caught a record-sized fish, you can report it to Mass Wildlife, but there are some strict rules to follow for catch and release. The fish must be measured at the location that it was caught and photographed next to a measuring device. The fish must then be released. The photo must show a clear side view of the fish flat against a clearly labeled measuring device. Make sure the whole fish is in the photo or it may be disqualified. Any photos edited or altered in any way will be disqualified. Photos of catfish and bullheads must also include a photo of the top of the fish. All photos must be submitted within 30 days of catching said fish. So, they gave a list of the state record for the largest freshwater fish ever caught for catch and release records. Now, Shawn had noted that there are a couple that are in here that look like they predate those records. I don't know how they factored that in there. So we're going to put a little, there may be some wiggle room one way or another on how the accurate dates or whatnot. So let's go ahead and dive into it because these are all alphabetical and there's a bunch of ties in here as well. American shad starts it off at 25 inches caught in the Chicopee River in Granby by Paul Bouchain Jr. back in 2017. That's a big ass shad. That's a much bigger shad than I would have expected to see in Connecticut up that far. But I suppose it did happen. Then we've got a tie for bowfin. We've got one bowfin coming in, or both of them coming in at 32 inches. One of them caught in Oxbow Pond in East Hampton by David D. Simone in 2021. And then a year later, we had a 32-inch bowfin caught in the Connecticut River in Northampton by Will Pellerin in 22. We know Will, from the show so far. I think he's the only name that actually sticks out on here of folks that we know. And I know that Will is like the bowfin whisperer. That's kind of how in my mind, how I file him away. That's his thing. We got a tie for, we got 2 brook trout. Now, this is interesting. So we have, oh no, I'm sorry. I need to read. We have one brook trout, one brown. We got brook trout at 20.75 inches caught in the Swift River by David D. Simone in 2021. A brown trout coming in at 32 inches caught at Littleville Reservoir in Huntington by David D. Simone. That was in 2020. As far as bullhead's concerned, 21.5 inches. That's fucking enormous. Caught in Oxford. Big. Yeah, that's huge. Roger Aziz Jr., that was in 21.
I'm familiar with that body of water. Never would have expected it.
I would have never expected a bullhead that size. That's enormous. But I mean, I suppose carp. We were just talking about this list and where they were going to top out at. The longest carp was 44 inches long, caught in the Connecticut River in South Hadley by Kenneth Langdon in 21. Chain pickerel comes in at 28.75 inches, caught in Leverett Pond by David D. Simone in 2020. I've heard they have pike there. Channel catfish. Channel cat comes in at 34.5 inches. Caught in the Connecticut River in East Hampton by Jason Montanez. That was in 2020. Another channel catfish, same length, caught in the Connecticut River, much further up the river in Hatfield by Kenneth Langdon in 2020. We got another tie for crappie. We've got one caught in Lashway in North Brookfield by Matthew Menard in 2019. You know that guy?
Oh, yeah, I know Matt Menard.
You know Matt? All right.
Yeah, I think you've met him actually at the shop.
Think so. The name sounds so familiar. Like I know a bunch of Menards, but
yeah, he was like the angler of the year, right around the time I had the shop.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
2019, 18 and a quarter inch crappie, and then another 18 and a quarter was caught in Putnamville Reservoir in Danvers by Thomas Melanson in 2020. Lake trout record is 34 inches. Coming in at Wachusett Res by David D. Simone in 2020. Landlocked salmon was caught in Quabbin Reservoir by Gary Morin in 2018. That one comes in at 27 and a quarter inches. Largemouth bass. A little four-way action going here. Get ready. Now, I'm going to give listeners, get a pen and write down these pond numbers because I know you're going to do it, but they've already released this information. That's fine. Largemouth bass is a four-way tie. All of these at 25 inches. All right, 25-inch largemouth. One of them caught in Mashpee Wakeby Pond by John Galsalves. That's 2017. One caught in the same pond by Dylan Town in 2018. Another one in 2018 in White Pond in Concord by Tracy Como Bow. And the last one coming in at Forge Pond in Granby by Will Pellerin in 2022, which is interesting because if I'm not mistaken, there's something magical about Forge Pond. I believe it's Forge George has spoken on record about there being a 9-pound largemouth. That's the pond record there, which is it's impressive. Apparently never registered with a stick.
7-pound males chasing her around.
7-pound males. That's right. How did he know that they were males? I'm not going to go there.
You could see the little balls underneath them.
That's what it was. Let's see. So that's Northern Pike we have a tie for. Both of them from the same pond. We've got Northern Pike comes in at 45 and a half inches, both of them. Both fish caught at Anoda Lake in Pittsfield. The first one was by Ashley DePauli in 2017. The second one was Craig Strong in 2021. Rainbow trout caught in the Swift River, 27 and a quarter inches. It's a giant rainbow. That is a giant rainbow. 27 and a quarter inches caught at the Swift and Belchertown. David D. Simone in 2021. You're going to see this name show up a lot. A shit ton. Smallmouth bass. Take a guess what the record smallmouth is for Massachusetts.
22.
What do you got, Joe?
I'm looking right at it. It's not fair.
Oh, you are? Yeah, it's not fair. It's fucking wrong. 23 and a half inches. Caught
I was going to say 23.
Caught at the Wachusett Reservoir by Zachary Aquino in 2020. Sunfish comes in at 13 inches at Wright's Reservoir in Westminster by Griffin Sobolewski in 2021. Tiger muskie comes in at 34 inches. Caught out of Pontusic by the one and only David DeSimone in 21. Tiger trout comes in at 25 and a half inches. Ashfield Pond in Ashfield by David DeSimone in 2021. Walleye, we have a three-way tie. All of them coming in 29 and a half inches. All of them caught in various areas from the in the Connecticut River. First one in 2018 by Michael Taylor. Second one in Turner's Falls by Jason Wingrove, and both of those two were in 2018. Then 2022 rather, Michael Taylor went in again and tied the record at 29 and a half for another walleye. And these were both in Holyoke, the ones that he caught.
Are there any other bodies of water in Mass that have walleye?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
I don't know.
At least for bowfin, I know is it the Taunton River has them? Taunton, or so one of the rivers out by Taunton somewhere has bowfin aside from the Connecticut River.
Yep.
But I don't think anywhere
else
in
the Nashua River or no? Bowfin.
The what?
Are the bowfin in Nashua River as well or no?
I don't believe they're in the Nashua.
Gotcha.
Huh. It would make sense. It's very swampy, but
yeah, you would think. And then I mean, there are some at Nashwanomic, in East Hampton.
But that's a tributary to the Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, as far as walleye, that's probably it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is about it. Bill Galekas chimes in. He goes, "Not sure if starting my day with you guys is a good or a bad thing." Bill, we're on the fence ourselves. To tell you the truth, we're a little on the fence.
You know what? We're not sure if starting our day with Bill Galekas is a good or a bad thing. How about that, Bill? Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Oh, goodness. Let's jump down to the next white catfish. White catfish comes in at 26.5 inches, caught in Turner's Falls on the Connecticut River by Benjamin Halkett. That was in 2015, and this is one of the ones, Shawn, that you had caught, and you were like, wait a minute, this seems like it's before the catch and release records. So I don't know if that was a typo or what it was, or, that shit can happen. White perch comes in with a tie at 18 inches, both of them from the same body of water, the Wachusett Reservoir. One by Prince Dukley in 2018. The other one in 2022 by John Cecchellini. Yellow perch comes in at 16 and a half inches. One of them caught in
huge.
Yeah, that's a big ass yellow perch. I thought I had a state record when I caught like a 12 or a 12 and a half. That one, I think, was in the October, and I looked it up and I was like, fuck me. That's way off. But yeah, yellow perch comes in 16 and a half inches. One of them at Coonamessett Pond in Falmouth in 2015 by Peter Brundret. And this is another one with that asterisk because the date seems like it's pre-catch and release records. And then the next one was caught in Long Pond in Plymouth by Mark Mohan Jr. in 2016. I just like, so there's big fish is what we're getting at here. They're there. You just, I feel like that is the element of fishing where luck plays the biggest role. How big is that fish that you're near? Do you happen to be are the big fish there, or are you just catching the little ones? And it's one of those things. But it's crazy to look and see. Like, I fish a lot of these bodies of water. I mean, in here, WWLP, before this list starts, they go, if you want to try your luck and catch the next record-sized fish, according to current records, some of the best areas to fish are the Connecticut River, the Oxbow Pond, Onoda Lake, Quabbin Reservoir, Swift River, and Littleville. Those are all some of my favorite bodies of water to fish. So thanks, WWLP. Fuck you. Doubly. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you guys with some funny shit. You ready?
Hit me with some funny shit, please.
Got a good tirade.
I saw you winding up. Okay.
It's an educational tirade for those of you folks, and for everybody inside and outside of Massachusetts. So, the catch and release program, I believe, started in 2017.
Yeah.
Okay. So prior to that, it was catch and keep, 2 divisions, youth and adult.
Yep.
So if you wanted to get a state pin, which let me briefly go on to a tangent for everybody not aware of this. A state pin, Massachusetts will give you a state pin. There's a minimum length, or prior to 2017, a minimum weight. You have to submit. You have to get it at a certified weigh station. Yeah. Hence me learning all about scale certification prior to 2017 because I had it done through my town just in case I ever caught anything that was big enough to get a state pin. When 2017 and the catch and release program hit, The submission criteria is completely different, but the pins stay the same. There's a minimum length versus weight. You have to take the picture like you just described on a measuring device that should be straight, but I think there's some leeway, there's some wiggle room with that. I'm not quite sure. On top of that, you have to do the submission, which is all online, takes 2 seconds, which is nice. Yeah. And then if you get the minimum, they give you a state pin saying, congratulations. There's this little bronze pin, and it's got a little picture. It's got a little engraving of the fish on it, and it has the length on the backside. Yep. I
have one of those pins. That's it. Just one.
Well, I'm gonna show you a second. I've been doing this, since it started. So there is a note I want to make on this. You can have the fish's mouth wide open and pinch the tail on it. There's not anything saying you can't do that, which is fine. That's why you see, 4 25-inch largemouth. I mean, with their mouths open and their tails pinched, they're probably 25.
Yeah, like one of those might have a closed mouth or something, but since they're not counting that.
With 25, so when you look at after all the experience I've had with we'll call it the KBF standard that seems to be filtered down everywhere, where they can pinch the tail to make it longer as long as you're not shown pinching it, but the mouth has to be closed. You don't see largemouth under that criteria generally break 23 inches in mass. Generally, I'm sure there's one or two here or there, but this state sponsored contest, open the mouth, pinch the tail, it's all good. That being said, so I've been, like I said, I got on this program from the get-go. So that's where I'm at. How many is that? 25 pins?
How many do you have across?
Rows of 7.
Rows of 7? Yeah. 25.
7 across. Yeah, so I've got 25, and one of them is from Connecticut, that gigantic carp.
Yep.
But
I feel like
within this, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them are bass, and I believe those are all largemouth. I don't have a state smallmouth pin. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pickerel, a crappie, and a northern pike. So I'll take it. And then, the carp's in there too. Connecticut does have a pin, catch and release pin program, as we've detailed on the show over the years. The amount of hurdles you have to jump through to get a state pin from Connecticut is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It is
par for the course for the Nutmeg State.
Yeah, way to go, Connecticut. But so that's how that works. I think the program's great. And when you see people getting that, the gold pins are for the biggest fish of each category for the year. So if there are 100 largemouth bass submitted and all of them are up to 24 inches and one of them is 25 inches, the 25 gets the gold. Then there is the Angler of the Year, as we mentioned, which is the most species pins across everything. So Dan, you could have taken a picture of that and gotten a pin for it.
So I want to pop. We'll get to that one in a second. Paul Russell says, Timmy, my son just got a bunch of pins this year. For his 7.8 he caught was catch and release. If he kept and killed it, it would have been a better reward, which I don't agree with. I'm not sure exactly what the reward is for the catch and keep.
And it's the same. It's the same program. Gold pin if he killed it. Oh, so it would have won that category.
It would have won that category for the. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's the catch and kill thing is going away.
Yeah, it's eventually going to just filter out. This will be the way you submit your fish. For any kind of records, it makes sense. And then Dan says, I released my 9.4 largemouth. We need those breeders. You're damn right. And then he goes in Central Mass. Is where he caught it. Paul Russell chimes in. He goes, Timmy would have gotten a gold pin if he had killed it. Yeah, that's what it was. He didn't want to kill it, so we released it, which is, I think, when you're catching a fish of that size, you want those genes out there, Release that one and catch a couple of 14 inches and have lunch. That's smart.
Yep. And I said that program's going away. I don't have any inside information. It's generally, as a trend for angling, people aren't killing bigger fish,
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're getting into the Massachusetts fish killing season with the ice fishing derbies.
Yeah, well,
Well, eventually that'll start to trickle down there because I think that, and there's two things going on. Like, I'll use this as an example. I was having a conversation, this was back in October with Becca, about the upcoming 24 season and everything. And I was like, this is wrapping up. It's been so much fun. She's like, you guys should look into doing ice, like just like make it an ice derby, something like that. And she's like, catch photo release would work for that, wouldn't it? And I'm like, absolutely it would. And there are tournaments that already do that. The thing is like, ice just complicates things. You have a shitty season and you put all this work into a tournament that's not going to work. Or like, even as from a retailer segment, like Joe has experience with this. Like you purchase a bunch of stock for ice fishing and like it isn't as great. And you're like, fuck. I mean, great. Like you have all that you could then sell for the next year. But it's like, it's a challenge. I think anytime you're dealing with snow, there's a little bit of a gamble. Anytime you're dealing with winter, there's a little bit of a gamble. How's it going to be?
I'm pretty sure. We did the catch photo release tournament or a derby, ice derby.
That's right.
I had OGO.
Yep.
And it's the only one that I know of that's ever been done in the area.
No shit.
It was a pain in the ass, but we got it done.
It makes so much more sense to do it that way with ice because it's like you've got a nice flat surface right there to measure the fish on. It's like put your board down, measure fish, bloop, good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
the only thing that we couldn't really enforce is what type of measuring device they had. You know what I mean? It was just so. There was like 300 people. You know what I mean?
And, exactly.
All types of different measuring devices, which was whatever.
Did you?
All I cared about was the fact they were releasing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing too. Especially, was that a charity event that you guys did, or was that just straight up tournament?
No, that was straight up tournament. 100%, 100% payback.
Gotcha. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I remember when that went down, man. That was awesome. And I think that like you can look at the other platforms. Like I remember when we were working with Fish Donkey with the Chronic Trips tournaments way early on. You would see ice tournaments in there. That would pop up.
We did them.
We did an ice tournament?
We did several. I had to stop them because there were only like 3 people getting involved, and they were all almost always driving to Maine for it.
Were we? Oh, Jesus Christ! And that's exactly it. Then it puts the pressure on. That's how I worded it to Becca. I was like, "Look, I go, if we do something like this, I go, it's going to mean that one, either you're going to enter, we're going to run registration, within, especially with like ice, or there's going to be a lapse." We're going to have to wait until there is safe ice, so we have to make a decision when we're going to do it. Then you have to run a registration period. And if the weather turns, and then all of a sudden that ice-making weather kind of disappears, and now you've got people that have entered that have an obligation to themselves to go and ice fish. Now they've got to travel in order to get it done, And I mean, dude, there was somebody in South Florida when we released the species list for the 2024 or for the multi-species lineup, when we started changing the process late in 2023. There were folks in South Florida that were like, how come there's no peacock bass in there? And the only response is the needs of a few are outweighed by the needs of many. I'm like, because unless you're in South America, South Florida is the only place you're catching peacocks. I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
The striped bass issue always rears its head.
That one too. Yeah, same thing. So it's like, because you gotta kind of play it the right way, I think I agree with you, Paul. I do. And I think Shawn's right that like you're going to see as time goes on, the program's going to change. You're probably going to see this in the number of entries. You'll probably have more catch and release entries over time, and eventually it'll just drop off and they'll get rid of the program. Dan Griffin is chiming in here. He says, I saw one ice or open water. It was posted on Facebook. That way, if you sign up, you have an opportunity either way. Yeah, that's another way to do it. I mean, 100%. There's ways that you can make it work. Is it really worth the effort to do it? I think personally, blocking out like for our multi-species tournaments, I think blocking out from April to October gives a nice little break in between, because you only get a couple of months where then you're ramping up into like the holidays and stuff, and like our content's going to change for that. And then you've got Expo season that's going to kick off, and then next thing you know, spring's there. So I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of nailed it.
Really, in this country, over the past 20 years, maybe more. It has seemed to me that the holiday season ramps up at, prepping for Halloween, and people start disengaging from summertime stuff somewhere around mid-October. And then they don't pick it back up until March or April, ice out, for us. And then I don't know.
In other parts of the country, people are fishing, but there are certainly less people fishing,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And football season puts a big hurt on it. And that runs
hunting season.
September.
Yeah.
September through what's football? September through February is football.
Yep.
People aren't doing, there's Sunday gone. So
yeah, it's freaking bananas, man. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back, and in our second segment, we're going to squeeze two interviews here. In our second segment, you're going to hear from Doug Sousa, and then we got an FTG. And then we're going to take a break after that. We'll be back with Marc Sorano in the beef seat. We're going to talk all things Heat Your Meat. He is a bit of an outdoorsman himself. We have a great conversation, and we will see you guys on the back end of that. Don't go too far. We got much more Jigs and Bigs coming up right after
this.
Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for just the tip or bait of the week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Bobby Roast Beef back here with a guest in our beef seat. We got a great one here. This is a regular, actually, that you have heard annually now for the last handful of years. We got Doug Sousa with us, and for those of you that aren't aware, Doug Sousa heads up the fabled Springfield Sportsman show that happens annually the last week of February in West Springfield, Massachusetts, over at the Eastern States Exposition. This is a big year for the Springfield Sportsman show. Guess who's 40, Shorty? Doug, how you doing, man? Good to have you back on the show.
Great, Bobby. Thanks. Good to be with you, man.
Awesome. We're really looking forward to it. We had an amazing time last time. We're looking to meet even more people and do some cool giveaways and stuff, and probably going to do some raffles. It'll be a whole lot of fun. So we're looking forward to it. We love our booth over there. But let's talk. 40 years is amazing. When I think back to 40 years ago, I was in first grade. I think that might have actually been the first year I had ever gone to the show. I think my dad actually might have even taken me that first year. It was pretty amazing. And I remember being amazed at just the sheer amount of stuff that there was to see. Now, granted, at that time, little kids, they think everything that, they're experiencing, it's all brand new. It's huge. Let's walk through some of the history of the Sportsman show. Like what's kind of changed from back then? What did the road look like as we got up to year 40?
Wow, it's been a heck of a road too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My dad and two friends started the business 40 years ago. I've been thinking about it a lot lately myself, and I like to say the show was born in a blizzard. 40 years ago, my dad he was writing for the Springfield newspaper, but didn't have a lot of cash, and he actually needed my financial help because I was flying around the country working for a company. And anyway. That's the history, and the history was that they opened the show in a snowstorm. My dad had put money he didn't even have into getting it started.
Yep.
And he opens the door. The very moment, the birth of the Springfield Sportsman Show, and he opens the door. There's no one there.
Oh,
absolutely
Jesus.
No one except for snow blowing across his face, and now he hangs his head, and he is really, truly just depressed,
defeated.
And he said he's walking around the building, and wondering how he's going to recover from this, because there was a lot of money for him, and there it was, crowd of about 50 people, huddling, hiding from the snow.
Yep. And
of course, it buoyed his spirits, and he marched them into the building, and that was sort of the birth of it. And over the years, I thought, well, sounds like a great story, but my dad's a writer, so there's a lot of BS that flows out of the man. He's gone now 2 years, but I knew enough about my father to know that he had great stories. And then one day I met a guy, and he says, "Oh, I've been to every single show." And I go, "Really? Come on, every show?" He goes, "Yeah, every single one." I said, "The first one?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Me and a bunch of people were huddling from the snowstorm on the side of the building. Your dad comes marching around." So it confirmed that if we can be born in a snowstorm, born in a blizzard, that the show's going to make it. But we have a lot of great stuff going on, and things have changed so much over the years. One of the things, and you're part of that change, is that we're getting more in tune with podcast people and influencers and all sorts of cool stuff that we never, we're trying to move with the times because we need young people to be involved, people that are using all the modern electronic media to get into their sport and enjoy their lives and know more when they can't actually go out to do it.
Yeah.
You're part of that, and we're moving in that direction ourselves.
It's amazing how, something that people think is so simple as the outdoors has really kind of grown and adapted and kept up with technology. It's a couple clicks, behind, but it really is kind of ramping up. You just look at the amount of outdoors folks that go and they turn to something as simple as YouTube to look at on their phone to learn some kind of a new technique or a craft or something that they're trying to perfect or get information on to learn. And it's done so much. It's really taken the things that like you kind of had to wait for, an event where you were going to see all of these other hunters or fishermen to share ideas with, maybe that you don't see all the time. So now it's like it is really kind of amazing to see it all kind of happen. Is there anything coming up for the 40th show that's unique or special, or anything anybody that should be looking forward to?
Well, the old saying, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Well, there's something old is we're bringing back Moana Jim with his wildlife show, and everyone loves it. I don't care who you are. We're all kids at heart, and everyone loves that. And then there's something new. We at the Long Island Shark Man. Now this guy, has unbelievable following. I mean, he is just it's crazy. He's got 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube, 192,000 Instagram followers, and 983,000 TikTok followers. This guy is just he's ripping it up.
He's been after it,
but it's a lot of fun. Watching him fish shark. And all the different adventures. The language can be a little bit strong on there at times.
Oh, for sure. Shark fishing does that too,
Yeah, right. A lot of toothiness going on there. So we have Chris coming in. He has awesome. A product to sell. He's going to do seminars, and I'm sure these seminars are going to be absolutely loaded with phenomenal photographs and videos and action,
That's
action
awesome.
that people want to see. And,
Yeah.
so that makes it a lot of fun.
That's great, man. That's awesome, and it's cool. Like that. There's something new, and some of the old favorites are still around too. Like that's so. If you're out there, and you're in the Pioneer Valley area, the 413 as the kids call it, and you're looking to check out something really new and interesting for the sportsmen of every stripe, come on out to the Eastern States Exposition. Come on out to the Sportsman Show. It's absolutely worth it. I think value-wise, for the amount that you spend on the ticket to get in, you can't get a better value, Doug. I'll stand by that all day. I think this is one of the best value shows that you can attend.
All the free seminar. Just to attend a single seminar, what would it take to go out and talk to somebody that's got all the experience in these different fields and everything else? What would it take? I look at it. You go to McDonald's, see what you get walking out after 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You get an empty pocket and a whole bit. But for 15 for adults and 5 for kids, there's a lot of things to see and do. We've been very fortunate to add a lot of cool kids type stuff in there too. So it really is a family friendly event, but you can also find exhibitors from around the world.
Oh, absolutely.
People, selling trips, hunting and fishing trips from across the other side of the planet. And that's what's amazing. The variety, the depth of what is available to see and do.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. Let's talk, you mentioned some of the seminars in here, and I'm looking at some of the stuff that you have in here, just in the fishing seminars alone. We've got some really, really great stuff here. We got Al Gag there, which, by the way, Al Gag recently received, I forget what the award was or the honor that he had received. What was that? Was it
he was inducted into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. That's amazing. And that's out in Hayward, Wisconsin. But Al, talk about something new. Here's Al has been with us from day one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Al has been part of the show for 40 years now, and here, brand new, he's inducted into the fishing International Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame.
That's amazing.
We tip our hat to Al. He started out making shad darts.
Shad darts, way back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he'd take his wife's fingernail polish and he'd cast the little lead jig heads and then paint them up and pretty outrageous colors compared to the standard stuff that was out there.
Oh, for sure.
And so he calls my dad one day, and my dad being the outdoor writer for the Springfield newspaper, they're out in a canoe and they're fishing. Well, doesn't my dad get a ripper on the line? And he's fighting. Well, he loses it. He loses the jig head, and they go, man, what a fight! That had to be a monster shad. That's what he's thinking, but it didn't fight like a shad. Well, the next day, there's a report that there was a jig, and he wrote it up, and it might have been a couple days later. Come to find out that this jig was hanging out of the mouth of an Atlantic salmon. Now, as rare as the Atlantic salmon are running up the Connecticut River, that's what had happened. He had fought an Atlantic salmon right there in Holyoke below the dam. Yeah. And the fish ladder, they found this salmon, and they look at every salmon because that's millions of dollars have been spent trying to restore the salmon into the river.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, my dad ends up writing it up and told everyone. He actually coined Gag's original name, Gag's Grabbers. He says, look for a Gag's Grabber next time. Well, Al took that and he ran with it. And
got to.
He gives my dad credit for having given him the start. And Al is a longtime family friend and a great fisherman. Yeah. And boy, people don't know it, but Al Gag is quite the carp fisherman. He used to pull monster carp out. Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Just below Springfield, Al was the man.
No kidding.
That's good to know. Yeah. he had his own formula for making a bait ball.
Yep.
And it was cornflakes, Jello or Kool-Aid, and a couple other ingredients. But he'd ball them up. He'd make these balls and go out there and catch some just absolutely awesome carp.
That's awesome. It's so funny. This year specifically, carp fishing has kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I had gone out and I put together a combo, with a like a 6,000 size bait runner, and I've learned tying some of those rigs and stuff, and it's a whole other ball game, and that's what I love about specifically fishing. There's so many different dimensions to it. Like you'll take a guy who's an iconic angler locally, Al Gag, which very few people know this, but for a very short window of time, Al and I were coworkers.
No kidding!
I worked at WWLP when and he did his segment there. So technically, contractually, we're kind of coworkers.
Gone fishing with Al Gag.
Yeah, I remember that.
What a great show! That was so much fun.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. So we've got Al's doing a seminar. Do you know what he's covering?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure it will involve, because his real success lately in the lure world is his whippet eel.
Yes.
And these whippet eels, the striper fishermen have just been blasting it. They've been having a great time, a lot of success on his whippet eel. So I'm sure the seminar will involve how to cast and where to fish the whippet eel.
Yep.
You never know what Al's going to come up with, though.
Yeah.
What a creative guy. He's always been just out there and fun. He's great to be around. People really ought to take the time, stop by his booth and shake his hand, get your picture taken with him. He's a real icon. He's a gem of the Springfield show.
Yeah.
Al has he's been the man for the longest time. And it's so wonderful that he's been with us and he's developed and done all the awesome stuff that he has.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing guy, made lots of contributions to fishing in New England.
Absolutely.
But going down this list of other fishing seminars that are speaking, we've got Chris from Long Island Sharkman. He's going to be doing this seminar. We've also got David Pickering. Now David, in this image on the website, he's holding a good sized carp. That's got to go 18, 20 pounds, something like that. That's a good sized carp.
Doubt it.
What is David going to be covering, or has he, suggested what that's going to be? Is he covering carp fishing?
Right. Yes, he is. He does two different seminars. He does a striper seminar, and he does a carp seminar, and he's always done this for us. But every single year, his information that he gives is brand new.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely brand new. Yeah. So all the photos that he shows, all the information he gives, everything he does is brand new.
That's cool.
But hey, north of us here, Bobby, on the Connecticut River up north, there are some amazing, huge carp. I mean, the Connecticut River is really known for it. I know we have plenty right around the Springfield area, but you go up north on the Connecticut River, and there is some amazing carp fishing. But David, he is such a favorite. We can't. I mean, why change it up when so many people like it?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's one of our absolute top seminar attendances,
and he gets it too. Like you said, like the information he's bringing, like it's like a living show. So it's there's updates and edits that have been made, and new information that he's bringing out there. That again, if nothing else, adding more value to what you're getting by attending the Sportsman show.
Just one of David's seminars. I mean, if you were to go to a specialty fishing seminar event, you're going to spend $100 and you get to see David for once. You get him twice here, and you get him for something as wonderful as his striped bass fishing. He is amazing. And the beautiful part about David is he's humble. He's straightforward. You're not getting a bunch of smoke and mirrors. You're getting the how-to of it all.
Yeah,
you're getting the real deal. Guy that's the real deal. Yep. He's just awesome. Really a great guy.
That's awesome. We've got Jerry Sparks doing another seminar, which is great.
Oh yeah. Yep. He's our kayak bass guide. Jerry's been out there for a long time doing it. He's originally a Springfield boy too, but he's out on the Cape. Yeah. He does the kayak fishing all over the Cape, down the mouth of the Connecticut River. Mm-hmm. He's always bringing out clients. He represents a lot of manufacturers. He's a pro for a lot of people. So he's the guy doing it.
That's awesome. You've got you got Spencer Cookson, our buddy from Berkshire Bass.
Yes.
This is great. We're excited. We love what Spencer's doing over here. We actually, everybody at the show, myself, Shawn, and Joe, we entered one of his tournaments that was on the Connecticut River on Memorial Day, and we haven't shut up about it. It's been great. We both were abysmal as far as the leaderboard showed up, but we had a good time, and it was a lot of laughs were had. So Spencer's doing some great stuff. We've had him on the show. Of course, like if you're looking for mega bass and stuff locally, he's your guy. Over check out his booth for sure. If you're looking for Vision 110s or mag drafts or anything, like he is your guy 100%. So Spencer, we're big fans of.
You should be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, additionally, local waters, you got Skip Bryant.
I was just going to mention, it wouldn't be the Springfield Sportsman Show if we didn't have Skip Bryant in there. Absolutely.
We pride ourselves on bringing someone. It's not some necessarily a big national guy, even though we've had a number of them.
Oh, for sure.
A guy like Skip, he's doing tournaments. He's fishing your local waters. He's done it. You know, he's
out there getting it done.
Blue collar fisherman.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if he launches a boat today. He's that type of guy.
Oh yeah, no, 100% he is. I got to talk to him a little bit in between seminars last year, and just like he's a wealth of information. He did a seminar a number of years ago. I think it was just pre-pandemic about jig fishing, and I was like, I want to listen to what he has to say. I learned so much in that one seminar. I highly recommend it. Yeah, and then of course we've got Pat Kelly, which
Pat, my man Pat, great guy.
Pat is fantastic. And, I want to give a little shout out to Pat. I appreciate Pat showing up. He comes out to, on occasion, to one of my trivia nights every once in a while. And I think he just kind of gets a kick out of watching me operate the crowd and everything. It's really fantastic. I've gotten to talk to Pat. I actually got him some Jigs and Bigs stickers. The last time I saw him, I think it was right around Christmas. And just an absolute great guy. You want to talk about somebody who is dialed to like the local, really the local community in every sort of facet, but certainly with the outdoors. Pat's a wealth of information.
Yep.
And real committed to getting like inspiring young folks to get out there and fish, which I think is just commendable,
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
And additionally, a guy like you, you're like a connecting conduit. So
for sure.
You know so many fishing people, and folks can come out and see you right in your booth and talk to you right there. And we love having you at the show. But I think we do pretty good. We round out a pretty good fishing offering for people coming to the show. We try to balance, hunting and fishing and outdoor activities, and I think we do pretty good. We have some guys worth coming to see.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about some of the exhibitors this year. Are there a few that stand out that are maybe new that people should pay attention to this year?
Oh, boy. Well, on the gun side of things, we have a Sig Sauer that's out of New Hampshire. They're new. They're coming in, and they're a lot of fun to see what they offer and Made in America and the whole bit. That's a blast. It's sort of overwhelming for me because I'm dealing with this stuff on an everyday basis. And so some of it unfortunately, it turns into paperwork for me or computer work.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, last year was an amazing year. We had a ton of fantastic exhibitors that are out there, and I mean, if things are just continuing to grow, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we really we almost lost it during the COVID times.
Oh yeah,
we almost didn't come back. Two of my partners up and retired. They said enough's enough, and I understand that, and I get it. And,
yep.
I've taken my wife on board to work with me in the office and stuff like that. And a good friend of mine, Johnny Giza, Charlie Green, and we're a small company that can do big things.
Yes,
and we've been punching at it for 40 years. We go in the ring and we give it our very, very best every year. And some people say, "Oh, well, you don't have this or you don't have." I can't make anyone actually come to exhibit at the show.
Yeah,
they have their own agendas. People say, "Oh, how about this and how about that?" Well, if they can come, they're going to come. They're going to be there. It's the biggest, strongest show in the Northeast.
Yeah.
People understand that. They recognize it. They know that there's phenomenal people that are coming through the door to see what they have and buy their goods or hire their services. We really try every year. I'm always constantly looking and probing and inviting people to come and be part of the show.
Yep.
But not everyone can make it.
Yeah.
And sometimes an exhibitor that's been with us for years, their time is up. And other times we have new wonderful stuff from all sorts of different places.
Absolutely.
We have a new exhibitor from fishing guide and wing shooter from down in the Delaware Gap area of New York, and that's fun. He's coming out of nowhere and says, "Hey, I heard about your show. I've been thinking about it for years, and I want to join you." But they come from all over the country. It's amazing.
Awesome.
The people we have coming from Africa. I have a guy I'm working on right now who does charters out of Africa.
Yep. Wow.
I don't know exactly what they're fishing for, but he does charters out of Africa, and I'm hoping that he'll join us.
Exactly. And it's funny too because I've done a lot of these expos and different trade shows and things like that in the past for just in business. Yes. And sometimes you're a situation where maybe you don't have anything that you're new that's promoting, or it's been one of those years where it's been more of a maintenance, just like continuing to build sort of thing. So maybe you don't have like a new offering to show off and display at one of these expos. But I'll tell you, like, for a lot of folks, like the guides are a great example. And that's one of the things that we've been trying to do here at the show is kind of like light a fire under our listeners' asses to don't write off a guide. If you're looking to go to whether, it's a fishing guide or a hunting guide, if you're looking to go into an area where you're not familiar with it, but you want to capitalize and have a great experience, utilize the experience that a guide can give you by putting you on. I know that some folks, especially with hunting, it's a different situation, but with fishing especially, it's a lot of money to sink into travel and lodging and everything else to go to a body of water for a handful of days and fish the hell out of it and basically just throw crap against the wall until something sticks versus, spend a few $100.
Expert.
Yeah, and go out for one of those days.
Expert that's got all the right gears, the right lure, knowing how to do it right. His success in business depends upon the success of his fishermen going out there.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And the things that you can learn and just pick up is it is fantastic. So then at least you've got that experience. And then, if you're down there for another few days, get back out on the water and see what you can do on your own. There's nothing saying you can't do that. So it's one of these things. So we've been trying to push so hard to get guides on the show to talk about what it is that they're offering, what their packages are like. And what I've noticed is, honestly, it's kind of like the Wild West with pricing as far as I've found. There's a guide that can fit your budget in almost wherever you go.
Yes.
If you just look around, you'll find somebody that'll fit your budget. And it's I think it's highly, highly worth it. just look at like
you could take and have 2 half-day trips. Let's say up in Lake Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Catch some browns, catch some monster browns.
Yeah.
I've fished Lake Ontario a lot. I've been fortunate to be able to fish all sorts of species, whether it's ocean or smallmouth bass up in Maine or New Brunswick, Canada, or walleye up in northern Quebec. I've taken and been on a lot of just absolutely superb trips, and it really is an adventure, and it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. These guys, so you spend $400 for 2 people for half a day to go out on this guy's $500,000 boat with this $500,000 worth of gear on it, and it's just worth it. It's so much fun. It's like treating yourself well.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And it's funny too. It's like for us at the show this year, our goal, last year was just more like meeting people, shaking hands, like introducing people had questions about the podcast. And obviously we're going to do all that. Like our goal this year is to really bring as much information as we can and educate people about our national multi-species scavenger hunt tournament that we've been hosting. And this is the first year where every single month we're not working with anybody else. So every single month is a Jigs Bigs online tournament. And we've changed up the rules so that it's really about catching the most diverse amount of species possible. So that's sort of what we're going in for. And, I'm going to be obviously answering all kinds of questions. We're going to have a video display kind of giving some information, and also with quick, easy sign-up so you can get more information about it when things go live. Registration opens mid-March for the April tournament, so it should be an absolute blast. It's important you go in with some kind of an agenda, something that you want to kind of talk about. And, but also for some of those folks, it's important to stay in there so that you're visible all the time. There's something to be said for that too. So if I'll use like ABay Lure Lab as an example, because we've ended up turning into great friends with Chris and Christina from ABay. They're a great example where, by being there every time, folks will see the evolution in the baits that they're offering, in some of the changes that have been made as far as items that come up, but specifically with ABay, because some of these items are one of a kind. So yeah, like an ABay Lure Lab where they're showing up and displaying all of these baits. You have an opportunity to get something that's really, really rare and really, really unique to throw into your tackle box or your arsenal and kind of have some fun with it. So I think definitely for some of these exhibitors, making it a routine to be there on a regular basis kind of builds a little bit on that engagement of people in this other area. They'll at least pay attention, when they're looking for a product. So it's definitely a good thing. Let's talk as far as like some of the, I'll tell you, we talk a lot on this show about food. And one of the things that we have noticed about one of the things I shouldn't say that we've noticed, we've known this for a long time, but one of the things that we're the biggest fans of at the Springfield Sportsman Show is the exotic jerky. And I got to tell you folks, if you aren't going out and, getting and at least sampling like some kangaroo or tuna jerky, you're failing at life. You got to get out there and make it happen. I know that there's a lot of people that will look at some of the exhibitors that are, well, I like to call them outdoors adjacent, but it's funny because you'll have these topics where, you'll see something that comes to mind for me is, I forget the name of the company, but they do these off-road, small camp trailers. Like absolutely amazing. And it can be a little bit dangerous because it'll put you in the mindset of like, hey, maybe I want to buy one of these. But it's one of these things that like you can utilize this as inspiration to figure out where you want that adventure to take you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
I agree. I've done every type of well, not every type hunting and fishing type adventures, and I love whether I'm in a tent out on the side of a hill somewhere, or I'm at a hotel and I show up lottie-dawing, to jump on board a boat,
Yeah.
Getting out there, that's the whole thing. Get off the couch. Get off the couch. Go
100%.
do it. Enjoy it.
So,
and part of enjoying it is knowing what you're doing when you're out there.
100%.
And that's where I think where we come in, in so many ways, that just to have that experience by knowing where to go, what to do, looking at it, talking with the right people. Don't be afraid if you've never done it before to come to the show and check it out.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a curiosity, maybe you come with an open mind and you say, wow, I've never done that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask more questions. And who knows where it leads to, there are some people at the show with unbelievably expensive trips. Okay, it's $50,000 to go for 10 days somewhere. Mm-hmm. But then again, there's another guy. We have a guy that's coming in that is a fly fishing guide on the Swift River. And he's fantastic. I'm trying to get him on the seminar schedule. But this guy will take you out, get you up to your knees and swift moving water and show you how to place that fly right where that trout is in the leeward side of a rock and looking for that easy meal coming in, and boom, now you're in action. You're having fun. You're out there. You're battling. You've used your wits but getting off the couch, getting out there and doing it.
Oh, it's
boy,
important.
I can't. That's it. You know.
It's true. It's definitely true. I'm glad you brought up the Swift River, Doug, because I have some good news.
Yes.
You probably remember last year I divulged that the Swift River I've had a chip on my shoulder with, despite growing up right near it and fishing it for a good chunk of my life. I can say successfully I have found success at the Swift River.
Nice. Good.
All it took was I had always been concerned about, because my kayak, I don't know if you've seen my kayak. My kayak's enormous. It's almost 14 feet long. It's a bass boat for one.
Too.
Huge.
Yeah. I have a 13.8 Old Town sit-in Predator.
Oh, there you go.
Kayak.
Nice.
And yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I like having stuff in my boat.
Yep.
I want my food. I want my lures. I want 3 rods stuffed underneath the deck.
Yeah, you want to be able to have everything right there. So what I had done was this last, I think it was like September or early October, I had gone and, again, this multi-species scavenger hunt tournament, really, I needed to check a few species off my list. I had plenty of rainbow trout. I needed to get some browns or brookies. And I was like, brookies? I got to go to the Swift. So I launched my boat right at the ramp there in Belchertown, and I went upriver as far as I could until I got to the first laydown that went all the way across, and I just did a float down. And I went down and I hooked up on a couple of, I actually even caught a largemouth when I was further downriver. And I was like, this is amazing. This is great. So this year, the change has been, are you familiar with BFS fishing?
BFS.
Bait finesse system.
But
so what it is it's like ultralight bait casting is really what it is.
Okay.
It's super light casting gear with these reels that are unbelievably light, super shallow spools. And
I use 2-pound test on the Swift.
Yep. Oh,
on my spinning rod. Yeah.
So I was like, for me, like holding a spinning rod all day long, like it just leads to some carpal tunnel. And I'm like holding a bait caster, or at least switching between the two, is a little bit better. So I was like, all right, we'll fool around with this. We'll see what we can do. I had gone out there multiple times. This first trip, I had caught a couple of rainbows, and I still have yet to catch a brook. But that's happening. That's going to happen this year. And I had another day I had gone out specifically just to harvest rainbows, and I caught these 2 beautiful 18s. And I was amazed that my boat was actually not too bad. And this second day I'm speaking of, there was a lot of traffic on the river, like a lot of folks, guides out with clients in their boats and stuff like that. So it was a little interesting to kind of maneuver and stuff, but got it all done. I couldn't believe it. So now it is finally that the chip has been filed down. It's gone. And now that's going to be my go-to trout spot, especially when I'm looking to take a kayak out for sure.
Yep.
So we'll fool around with that a little bit. But I figured I was like, I should tell Doug about this. He'll be glad because
I'm a big fan of the Swift River.
Yeah.
You know, when you go upstream and after the first blow down there, and then there's a little dock on the left there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's where my buddy Jolly Green and I hang right there.
Oh, okay.
I have caught a lot of fish right in that area and enjoyed myself and watch all the fishermen go up and down, talk the stories. My buddy's always got a camera when he's sitting on the dock there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, make sure you stop in and you see him if you don't see me with him.
I will, for sure. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
That's our spot.
That's good to know. That's a good spot too. There's a lot of good grass in that area too. I was really surprised at like what I was able to see. You know, I mean, the water, of course, is crystal clear, but like I was I was like, there's some real fishy spots that I have been totally overlooking. And this getting in the kayak definitely helps things along. Doug, this has been absolutely amazing, man. I appreciate you coming on the show to talk about it. We're looking forward to the Sportsman show. If any of you Jigs and Bigs listeners want to know more, you can go to www.osegsportsmans.com. More information is up there. They've got the exhibitor list from last year, which will give you kind of a rough idea of what you can see. But make sure to check out some of these not just the exhibitors, the seminars as well, because that is all up to date. You can check out some information about the seminar. You know, the folks holding the seminars before you get into them. As always, if you're coming out to the show, make sure to stop by the Jigs and Bigs booth and say hi for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we look forward to having folks with us. We have online ticket buying now. You can go right on the website and connect there, or our Facebook page, Springfield Sportsman Show. There is there's a square you can scan and go to buy a ticket online if you want.
That is awesome.
You won't have to wait in line at the show. We got a lot of great stuff, and Bobby, I'd really like to get a couple of our seminar speakers online with you here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll connect you with a few people. I'll give you phone numbers, and I'll contact them and see if they want to do it.
Excellent. That sounds great, Doug. I appreciate it, man.
Good. Yeah, we'll get Spencer on. We'll get Skip on. Maybe get Dave Pickering on too.
Absolutely. It sounds like a plan. I love it.
Yeah, great.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Great being with you. Yeah, great being with you, Bobby.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. I'll see you guys at the end of February.
That's it.
All right.
23rd through the 25th.
I love it. Take care, buddy. You have a great one.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye now.
All righty, guys. It's there are some folks that this is their favorite segment of the show. Like they absolutely love it, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. FTG is a magical place where some of the absolute bottom of the barrel of society can land. We've seen this happen with the Bass Pro Shop stuff, and we had an FTG that was laden with racism last week out of Australia. But this week this one is a local FTG, which is and something that you would be surprised thinking like, oh, it's a fishing podcast, a local FTG, and they haven't really had safe ice until the current time that they're recording this. Guys, I hate to say this, but our FTG this week is the Munich House, the place where we had our 200th episode game dinner. It kind of sucked. In one major way. I'm going to walk you guys through the end of the event. We had finished the show. Everything was great. We're having a good time. And actually, I want to go back in time a little bit. I want to update everybody so everybody knows the full spectrum. Because what I'm going to say, this is important. So let's go back to the very beginning. Okay. This is how it was planning this event. We did not want to necessarily do this event here. We had a plan. We were actually looking to do a game dinner, and we were looking for caterers and other folks. So we started, I had jumped in and was asking around the different venues where we were looking at. Because initially we were looking at different like Elks Lodges and Knights of Columbus, American Legions, things like that. And I was asking about, hey, we're interested in doing a game dinner. What do you suggest? And I was coming up empty-handed nonstop. except for one thing. Everybody kept telling me, they're like, it sounds like what you want to do. You just want to go to the Munich house and have them do it because they do this shit all the time. So I said, okay, great. So I reached out to them. Initially, I heard nothing back. I reached out again. And I started talking with, and I'm going to use the names of who I talked to over there. Just because so you guys can keep track. So I started talking with somebody who was like either the events manager or events coordinator over there named Michelle. Now, Michelle was relatively helpful initially, had asked me some questions. I had left her some information and I said, great. I said, all this sounds good. I said, we think we're going to draw a pretty big crowd. Spoiler alert, we didn't. But I think it all came down, like I said earlier, I think it was the cost. So we had, had this date set up and I was waiting on an email for the pricing and the menu so that way I knew what we were working with and what we could afford. Now, the price that they gave us, and I made no secret about this when people would ask about how come it's so expensive? They gave us the menu and they said, so we normally do these at this amount, $65 a head, right? Which is full retail. That's what they do when they have their own game dinners. In fact, last night, the day before we were recording this, they had their own game dinner and it was $65 a head, which from what I can tell and the way it was kind of described to me is if you were an individual going, you would pay $65 and that's what it is. That's your tax, gratuity, everything. Boom, all set. Now, I said, all right, cool. So you're selling a ticket. It's all built in. Awesome. They didn't tell us that it was, hey, so for the food, it's going to be this. For this, it's going to be whatever. There was no breakdown. In fact, there was no contract, which immediately, again, was a red flag. And had there been an alternative, I would have probably dropped them and gone to somewhere else. But we were kind of stuck. And at this point, we had already been talking it up, which was stupid. But we had already kind of started talking it up. So we kind of were committed. We were going to see it through. Again, knowing the only dollar amount that they gave us was the full retail amount. So I know Shawn and I had talked back and forth about, so how are we going to make this work for the fundraiser? We obviously have some expenses, and things that we need to cover, like the rentals, the social booth that was there. That's not my projector and screen. And even if it weren't, like the PA system and stuff like that, like that's coming out of my business. And, there's expenses So we figure all of this shit together, and we ended up coming up with a number that we were like, this is a good round number, and we're going to elect to eat all of the ticket Eventbrite ticket charges out of that. We're just going to eat that. It'll cut into it. Great. So we start selling tickets. Okay. Everything's going great. We get down now to I haven't heard anything from the venue since we started selling tickets. I had actually sent them the information and said, hey, does all this check out? Let me know what you think. And they gave the thumbs up. Now, I should say this. The owner of the restaurant did email in that thread and said, Bobby, I'd like to talk to you. When are you available to come by? I replied and said, I can be available anytime during the day within these hours. Let me know. And then I followed up again with my phone number. And I said, feel free to call or text me as well. That's no problem. I never heard from this guy at all. I still have never heard from this guy. And I probably will after this. And that's fine. I never heard from him. I had, gone and, and I also didn't get any information from Michelle regarding the event, any changes, anything like that. I didn't know if there was a deadline for when we had to pull tickets, anything like that. So we got to about December and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I need to know this kind of shit. So I eventually got in touch with Michelle and she told me that we didn't have to worry about giving a head count until the day before, which again, I scratched my head and I was like, that's weird to me. It's so early. You know what I mean? Or it's so late in the game at that point. Like, I was a little confused by it. I said, okay, that's fine. It's all good. We get down to now we're a week out before the show. I get an email and this email comes from Michelle and she says, hey, just a heads up. The owner was trying to get in touch with you, but we have a 50-person minimum. And if you don't sell over 50 tickets, we're going to charge you at 50. So that's going to be what it is. So I did the math real quick as I was seething, and I did the math and figured it all out that essentially if we were going to do this and make it work, not only would it deplete 100% of the money that came in for Veterans Inc., but it would actually leave me in the red about $500 or $600, based on the ticket sales at that time. So I said, okay, that's not going to fly. I had called, and when I say this, I'm serious. I feel bad for Michelle because she got the full-on, unhinged Tony Soprano version of Bobby Roast Beef, losing his mind, essentially saying, listen, you have a handful of choices to make here, and only one of them is going to end the right way. I said, you can choose to charge us your minimum, in which case we will choose to either cancel and let everybody know exactly why we're canceling, because it could have been done with one click of the mouse. And on the alternative side, we could you could waive that 50-person fee and we go about our event and everything is great. The other option was they could choose not to waive their fee, and we might make the decision to keep going with the show, but we're just not going to be quiet about the fact that where that additional money is going. Like, we're going to let people know. When I tell you this, it took 48 minutes for me to get a call back from this group. And I think I still have the voicemail. Yeah, I heard at 6:23 p.m. that night, she goes, hey, Bobby, this is Michelle from Munich House. Just giving you a call back. We definitely are going to waive the 50 for you. He said he forgot that it was for veterans. I'm so sorry about that, but you are all set, and we just charge you for however many people come. Okay? Sorry for the inconvenience, and we hope you guys still have a good time next week. Okay, thanks so much. Have a good night. I emailed back, said I got your message. Everything's great. Fantastic. Now, this whole time I was budgeting, right? I'm budgeting. I'm trying to figure this out, doing the math. And I made the assumption that, yeah, they're going to charge us sales tax on this. You know, I'm like, they're going to charge us sales tax. So I had that as a buffer, you know, that I was kind of working out. I said, okay, great. No problem. We get to the event. Now, I should say, actually, that when I got that email about the 50-person minimum, this was the day after I had done a walkthrough at the venue to figure out how we were going to set up the room and to talk about how the layout was going to work for the buffet. Nothing was mentioned to me there about that 50-person minimum, nothing at all. In fact, it came to light. I asked about the final menu. I said, yeah, when am I going to find out the final menu? I haven't heard anything. And Michelle looks at me shocked. She goes, oh, I emailed that to you. And I was like, you did? Let me quickly go and do a search and find out where that is. I was like, that's odd. I don't have it. For the second time in a row, this woman fucked up my email address. This time it was after we had already had a dialogue multiple times. So I was like, you know, initially when we had this conversation about the 50-person minimum, she says, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you in the phone call that we had initially. And I was like, maybe you did, but that was in August. And you're the same person that forgot my email address on 2 separate occasions. So let's just pretend you'd never said that, because it's possible you didn't. And she's like, okay. I'm getting a little worked up right now just thinking about this, because here was the real fucking kick in the ass. I go up at the end of the night and I see 2 slips on the bar. Most of the people have started packing up and headed on their way out. The show was done recording, and I knew that these were both for me. I knew that one was my bar tab, which was $16, because I didn't have enough time to even tie one on and have much for drinks. I had 1 beer, my wife had a beer, and a soda. And the other one was for approximately $500 over what I estimated this bill to be, including tax. Like where I was thinking, they had essentially charged us over $400 for what was explained to me when I inquired.
The use of their linens,
which was never described early on, and it was never even made a conversation at all. And again, because we were paying
full fucking retail,
I was, again, mistake on my part, right? Without having paperwork, I should have asked in advance, what is this going to look like? I think after everything else, they did this out of spite. It didn't have to be put on there. When I inquired and I said, do you charge a percentage or something when you sell a ticket and you do your event at $65 to cover the use of the linens? And she says, no, of course not, because it's not a private event. It's in-house, which I heard as
fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
I also found out that this day of coordinator that we were working with that day, her name was Denise, and she's only been there for like a week. And I had explained to her, I was like, look, we had an issue earlier. I was under the impression that this was what we were essentially paying, you know, and from the sound of her voicemail, she's like, yeah, you're only paying for the amount of people that you bring in, you know. So again, I was budgeting for this. Now, thankfully, we had increased a little bit of our ticket price to cover this. And unfortunately, that $400+ nearly $500 had to come out of what should have been donated to Veterans Inc. Thank God that we had so many people in-house that had done a cash purchase for raffles or even Venmo, because that wasn't in that ticket amount that was sold. None of it. So Bobby Roast Beef pulls out the credit card and pays that $3,500 tab and walks out. Game over. It's all good. Now, I had handed over somewhere in the ballpark, a good envelope of cash. I'm not going to leave let anybody know what that is necessarily right now, but I had paid Christian from Veterans Inc. the cash element, and I told him when I get the deposit from the ticket sales and I settle up, I will be making another online donation of those funds, and included with that, I'm going to take the Venmo stuff as well. He said, absolutely, that's no problem. Great, excellent. Now, unfortunately, I am left with about $130 to donate. Is ultimately what it gets down to. It's about $130 after everything. And it should have been nearly $500, over $500 actually, counting that. So, like, I'm a little bit peeved by this, because if this is my review of the Munich House, massive thumbs down. I also found out that the owner of this business is another owner of another business that I really love, and I am making a change to their competition because I don't want to put my money in this asshole's pocket any longer. So we're just going to make an adjustment to that. But I figured, this is the gentlest way to go and express my, I guess displeasure of working with them. They're, just, I don't know. I feel like they kind of fucked us for really no good reason, and they didn't have to. So I did mention when I was having this conversation a week out before the show, to Michelle, that I was not going to hide anything from the listeners. I was going to explain the entire situation, and that, basically, I was using that as leverage. That's exactly what it was. Shawn and I had a conversation that night, and he's like, do we even want to bother? Like, maybe we just talk to them and see if they can refund it or something like that. And I thought about that at the time. I was like, I've already told them once. And that's ultimately what I decided, is that I've already told them once. So, cards on the table, guys. That's what it is. You fucked a veterans organization out of about $500. It's fucked up. You guys have any commentary?
Just, you wonder what they're like. Just a hidden cost. I hate that shit with anything.
I really do feel like it was just done out of spite. I do because they wanted to get their minimum, and it does. It's fucked up. It is, and I had talked about, it was like, thank God. I was like, all right, I can cover this, and I'm going to cover it, and make it happen. But they knew they had me bent over a barrel, that I had to pay that tab before I even left. You know what I mean? And I was budgeting for about $500 under there. Again, if they sold that ticket, they're not charging tax on that ticket to the customer. They're not. That ticket, they're not charging the use of linens. They're not charging anything, for that ticket other than that ticket price to the customer that's going there. I understand having a minimum, and I had a conversation with a friend of the show about this, and they were like, well, from the restaurant side, I understand them having minimums and such and everything like that. And I said, no, that's fine. But you got to disclose that shit. If there was and I'll be honest with you guys, really what should have gone done, and in hindsight is 2020, we should have canceled this event in December. We should have canceled this event in December. We should have just done a live stream and raffled off those prizes on the live stream and sent everything out, is what we should have done. And that's bad on us. You know what I mean? That's bad on me. Not even you guys. That's on me. That's really what should have happened. And And what I do think is humorous, if there is something funny about this, it's that this day of event coordinator, Denise, and she, again, absolute sweetheart, was trying her best. And she was actually talking to me, having a conversation as if the next time we do a live event,
we would actually fucking go to their establishment.
She was like, oh, the next time you do one of these, we could just do it with a different buffet to keep the cost down lower. And, kind of, you'd probably have more people. And, when you do good things in the world, they come back to you. Well, you know what? When you do shitty things in the world, that shit comes back to you too. It does. It works both ways. So, just for what it's worth, if you want quality German cuisine at affordable prices and an atmosphere that is wonderful, go to the Student Prince in Springfield, the Fort. Don't go to Munich House. Fuck the Munich House.
Yeah.
Joe.
Double yeah.
Double yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for you guys to chime in and say something, but I know I've already said it all.
Yeah, there's not much else for us to say, I don't think.
Yeah. I was so glad, Joe, that you were not there when that check came, because where Shawn and I had a conversation, I was like, oh, somebody's going to get choked.
And I had enough in me to do it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, somebody's going to get choked out. Oh, I was like,
when the whole 50-person minimum thing came through, we all three of us got our heads together and said, well, the option was on the table. Does this go, or does this, do we follow through? And we all said, well, fuck it. Even if we pull a little bit out, Veterans Inc. wasn't expect. They could have, Veterans Inc. would have been happy, I think, they got a lot of attention, that there's a lot of people in the fishing community are now aware of. Yeah. Veterans Inc. and what they can do.
Yes, exactly.
And
look, there's a positive side to this.
Christian's been around long enough. He understands that, some fundraisers might bring in X amount of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Some might bring in 100. Either way, when we were walking out, I said, let's, we had a number, and I said, think of how many groceries that's going to buy for their food pantry for vets that need that.
Yep.
I said, so let's not get overboard. Like, hey, we had a lofty number. That's great. We wanted to hit, but like anything will help.
Yep.
So,
and that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like if I'm upset about anything, and clearly I am, but we did raise a decent amount of money. It just should have been that much more that we should have been giving to them. Yeah. And that's, if anything, honestly, I think the best way to describe it is, if anything, I'm just disappointed that they pulled this shit at the last minute and ultimately reduced our effectiveness, because I keep thinking about that. I'm like, you're right. Yeah. X amount of money was going to buy X amount of groceries, but more money would buy more groceries. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm just disappointed.
I kind of wish now that I stuck around, but I had to go help put Josh to bed at my house because
he was done,
feeling a little under the.
So you had the dark house sleepover. Gotcha.
Yeah.
John Hagens chimes in and he was like, would a VFW have been a better venue? 100% it would have been. And that was the goal initially. Yeah. Again, I don't know if John may have missed this portion of it, but there were really no other options if we were going to do a game dinner. And I'm glad we did it. I'm never going to do it again. We'll just, it's not going to happen. We'll do another more traditional buffet that can be done like I get it. The game dinner is expensive. And that's why I was like, okay, fuck it. That's the price. We're going to do it. We're going to sell as many tickets as we can. Because again, like, I didn't think that there was a minimum at all. There was no contract for me to refer to. Nothing. I wasn't given anything like that. I didn't sign anything other than the fucking receipt when they charged my credit card. $3,500 or whatever it was.
Hindsight's 2020, like you said. I mean, we all put our heads together that that week before, and we all chose, collectively to be like, nah, let's let it go, run its course. Yep. And
I thought that they were.
Now we know.
Yeah, exactly. And I do. I feel like, ultimately that's what it was. It was just like the last dig. Like, what can we do? What can we do? So it's fucked up. It is 100% fucked up. Yeah, VFW would have been a better move. I think we're gonna play around with stuff. I mean, we have a good relationship with Nathan Bills. We did the 100th episode. Sully over there had asked me all the time. He's like, "When are you gonna do another one of those fishing things?" And I explained to him, I'm like, "We generally do them for like milestone episodes, like something like that." But I mean, changing over into a different. Doing the holiday party, making it an annual thing, now just makes it an exercise of going and booking this stuff and saying, okay, hey, we're at this time of year right now. Let's go ahead and block out this date. We'll make it happen. And then, boom, it'll all work out nice. I don't know if I'm going to make it a Friday or if I'm going to make it a Saturday or if we're going to do it on a Sunday. Who knows, but it's going to be between like, I'd like to go December 1st and mid-January. That is a trend that some folks do with holiday parties is they'll do them after like first of the year.
Right.
But again, it's tough. There's a lot getting people to go out that time of year. And that frightened me too. Between New Year's Day and like, really, the entire month of January, getting folks out to an event is a challenge because they blow so much on the holidays and they just kind of want to recoup a little bit, So, live and learn. We figured it all out.
Yep. Now we know.
Yeah, now we know. And knowing is half the battle. Am I right?
That's right.
Guys, we're going to take a short break. We have Marc Sorano, owner, proprietor of Heat Your Meat. Did you guys know that the Heat Your Meat seasoning is actually almost as old as Joe? That's how long that recipe's been around. Yeah. It's crazy. That recipe's been around a long time, and we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk a lot about food. We are going to talk about the outdoors, and we got all kinds of good stuff coming up. You guys don't want to miss it, and we will see you in a bit. Don't go too far. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs Bigs. If there's one thing I can't stand spending money on, it's on something that's not versatile, something that I can't get a lot of use out of. I want to talk to you about Frost Buddy. What Frost Buddy is it's one of those can coolers. I've seen these before. In fact, I have some that are limited to only fitting one specific size of can, like a standard 12-ounce can. I stumbled onto Frost Buddy, and I was blown away with it. So versatile. Fits standard cans, tall cans, slim cans, and even 12-ounce bottles. And the magic is the insert fits all of these items in various stages within the insert. And when you take that out, you can fit a full 16-ounce tall boy can. In fact, it even doubles down on being versatile with the coffee lid. And on my recent trip to Chickamauga, I had a field day with this thing. I was throwing beer cans in it. I'd have coffee in the morning. On the drive, I was throwing in all different sizes of cans for different canned coffee products to keep me awake on the long drive back. The thing was amazing. So I recommend you check out Frost Buddy. If you're in the market for either a travel cup for your coffee or a can cooler at all, either one of those, check it out. For the money, you cannot go wrong. What I've done is this. In the show notes for this podcast you're listening to right now, if you look there, you'll find a link to Frost Buddy where you can get yours. And not only can you go and get your Frost Buddy there, but you can help out the show as well. Go and visit that link in the show notes to this podcast. Check out a Frost Buddy. Tons of colors, tons of patterns, all kinds of great stuff. And it's a great spot to put your Jigs Bigs sticker too. Take it from me, Bobby Roast Beef. You're going to get the most versatility out of this one product, probably out of anything you're ever going to buy, especially for anything that you're drinking. Frost Buddy. It works for me. I'm a happy guy. Jigs Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jig heads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing. guys, Bobby Roast Beef back here with us. We got a great little interview segment here. I'm excited to have this guest in the beef seat. You know, it is not every guest that I have on the show that I have this feeling where I'm able to freely and without any restraint whatsoever dive into the topic of food and culinary art. And this is one of these situations because I have had many conversations with this man. I'm talking about none other than Marc Sorano. Marc is the proprietor of the dare I say world famous Heat Your Meat seasoning.
Award.
It is award winning. It is, and multiple varieties are award winning. Marc, awesome to have you, dude. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you.
I am gonna fanboy out like a little bitch for most of this right here because our relationship has blossomed in a way where your products have literally become a daily usage multiple times a day for me. Whether it's the either two varieties of the original Heat Your Meat, that or the mild, or the SPGs in like everything. And I think I kind of found a cheat code with that Dalmatian rub, that barbecue rub, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I haven't refilled a salt shaker or a pepper shake or a pepper grinder in months, and I'm okay with it. I'm proud of it. But there's more to it. Like, you know, I mean, you're out there with Heat Your Meat, obviously getting the product in stores and killing it online, and people are excited. At our recent 200th episode, we had this amazing, and thank you very much. The prize that you had supplied us with was absolutely amazing. And we've got some stuff for you guys in Columbus as well. But it was a buzz. Like, people were in the crowd. They're like, I want to win that Heat Your Meat bag with all that stuff in it. I want to get I want to add a little spice to my life. And I'm impressed, dude. Like, I'm one of these guys where, so we're going to dive into this conversation in a couple of seconds. Let's just get right into the food. We'll talk about the outdoors and stuff in a bit. But like, so I love spicy food. I do. I prefer the flavor element of items that are spicy versus like it just being like just put your ass on the floor type heat, like just blowing it totally out.
That's exactly how I feel too. Yeah. You know, a lot of the times if something's really, really spicy, I'll tolerate it if it's flavorful. But
yes, to
have something that's just melt your asshole out just to be hot, I see no reason for it other than self-defense. Yeah. There's no reason for anything that hot.
Yeah. It's more, if anything else, it's like novelty, you know? And I understand that. And like, there's a relationship with spicy foods. Like, it's all about when you're using an ingredient, like what's the ratio you're adding in there? Like, I like to say this all the time. I dabble with hot sauces all the time. And, you know, now that something like Hot Ones is becoming something so common in the discussion with a lot of people, it's nice because now we have a benchmark other than like, well, is it hotter than Tabasco? Because you've got something that people are trying these things. And I'm going specifically to one very specific sauce, Da Bomb. Well, I forget the full name of it, but the Bomb Beyond Insanity is the one that we've tried, and the dudes in Hookset Hoodlums and I, we've had a little challenge like in 2020, and that I tend to think is one of the hottest hot sauces up there in my life. That is something that people have had on a regular basis. Now, it is delicious, but to eat it by itself is not the move. Like, you know, a teaspoon in like a giant pot of chili, you're living life. You know what I mean?
And you're still.
And I love the reaction that folks are having with your products. That I was like, there's no, some of these folks, like, we talk food and I'm like, they're not really that adventurous spice wise. I'm like, I'm kind of impressed. But the beauty of it is your stuff is easily controllable. You know, it doesn't dominate the flavor. It doesn't take over a dish at all. It's absolutely, I feel like I'm kissing your ass right out of the gate. But it's true.
The thing that I always say is that it's not, I get kids that come up to me when I do farmers markets and I do fairs and I do shows and stuff. And I always get this teenage kid that comes up and goes, what's the hottest stuff you got? It's not about, and I always say, you know, if you're looking for a hot pepper challenge, this is not it.
That's not the,
It's not the point. This is about flavor.
Yep.
And it's got a nice level of heat.
Yeah.
I said, so if you that's what you're looking for, then you can move on. But if you try it and you like it, then make a judgment from there. So then I always get the kid will dump it in his hand, he'll lick it, and he'll be like,
it's not that hot.
That's really tasty.
Yeah.
It was like a great level of heat. He goes, and then 99% of the time, that kid will end up walking away with a bottle or two.
Which is amazing because, like, ideally, and that's what I love about it. Like, with your product specifically, and we've had this conversation in the past. You have the original Heat Your Meat, like I would say the flagship sort of seasoning.
That's the one that my dad came up with over 30 years ago, and that's the one that the whole shooting match is based around. That's the reason why the company started. That's why I started the company in the first place. Was my dad's original recipe. And actually, a funny story. It wasn't even to start the company. It was to protect the name Heat Your Meat. I wasn't even planning on starting the business. All I wanted to do was protect the name Heat Your Meat.
Yeah.
So I literally started an LLC. I trademarked the name just to protect it so no one could take it. Because my father came up with the name as well. So I didn't want anybody just taking it.
That makes sense.
And then it just became a vicious cycle of me trying to recuperate the money that I had spent to
get into it.
Trademark, and then it just became just a giant barfing of money. So, but now at this point, it's paying for itself. So
perfect.
I'm very happy with that since it's such a side hustle for me.
Oh yeah.
It's not a full-time gig. It may be when I retire, but not at this point.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's completely understandable. I didn't realize that the recipe went back that far because what's interesting is like in the food culture, like the habanero. Like I remember I used to work in produce in the mid to late 90s. Yeah, like more in the late 90s. And when I was there, like the selection that you could find, and I mean this was kind of like more of a boutique grocer. It was a local farm that I worked at, so they tried to have as diverse amount of produce that they could offer. And every once in a while, we would get a delivery that would have some chilies on there, and there'd be habaneros. And I remember my first experience with a habanero. I was probably like 17, 18, something like that. And the guys were like, oh, yeah, we'll see if we can get Rob to eat one of these. Because they would mess with us. Like, you'd get the new hire, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, dude, have you tried ginger? Oh, my God. And you just try to get them to eat stuff that was, like, unbelievably strong in one way or another. So I took a habanero. Yeah. I'm like, they're really good, huh? And I ate the entire thing. Like, popped it in, broke the stem off, and ate the entire thing. My face nearly exploded. But the thing is, those dudes did not expect me to like that at all. And I was like, oh, this is nice. I can get into this. And it was my first experience with a habanero. I'd never even heard of one at that point. So but now habanero is starting to get more into the fold. But what I love about your products is like the mild is not a watered down version. The mild is like a totally other flavor profile. So if you're going to buy the flagship seasoning, you might as well get the mild too, because that's all about the jalapeno, which is an entirely different flavor and can, to use the two in conjunction. I've done that before too. And the results were delicious, and there's no salt in either of those. So whereas I'm a big, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my favorite seasonings to use in a lot of dishes is Cajun seasoning. Flavor God makes a really, really great one. Who else? Obviously Tony's. But the biggest ingredient that goes into everything, salt, is usually first. So
absolutely,
it's tough to go. What's nice about what you're bringing to the table is if I want to add a little bit more heat and a little bit more a little bit more flavor without increasing that salt level too much and having it overtake the dish, I can do that, and I can use this as a way to kind of kick up that Tony's I'm using in that Cajun pasta I'm making, and it works beautifully. Let's get into the origin sort of, because I like I said, I didn't realize that this recipe had gone that far into history, really. Tell me a little bit about, like, let's start with the products and how they kind of came to be and the road that we got here. Like, how were you introduced to all this stuff? We'll talk about the outdoors in a bit as well.
Yeah. So, like I said, my father had come up with this recipe I'd say about 35 years ago. I was still early in my high school years, and actually, I think I was in like middle school. Anyway, I date myself. Anyway, so he came up with this, and he comes upstairs and he tells my mother, "Oh, I just got heat your meat." And my mother's like, "Andy, the kids are in the house. What are you talking about?" It's like, no, I made the seasoning. It's awesome. It came out great. You go, my father doesn't like any sauces or anything. Where you know, for me, the meat is just a vessel to get the sauce to my mouth. I'm a huge of sauces, but he doesn't like sour cream. He likes vanilla ice cream only. Which is odd because of the versatility, the variety of spices that he likes. Yep. Everything else in this is plain.
Yep.
But so he came up with this to put initially on a steak to give it flavor and heat. And again, not a huge component of salt. Whereas, and I'm the same thing. I don't even put salt on my eggs. It's my mother always breaks my stones all the time. She's like, "How could you not put salt on eggs?" I just don't like it. So, but came up with this, sprinkled it on steak, and then next thing you know, he's sprinkling it on pasta. He's sprinkling it on fish. He's sprinkling it on chili, everything.
Yeah.
And what was funny was this recipe is a recipe that I have adapted to make it commercial.
Gotcha.
If I was to recreate my father's original recipe, it'd be like $60 a bottle. Because he would go around from farm to farm and grab chocolate habaneros, Scotch bonnets, Serrano peppers. Mm-hmm. He would grab habaneros. He would grab all these different types of peppers, grind them down, mix them, and then the bouquet and the flavor was absolutely insane, but not marketable.
Yeah.
Because of all, you can't even get a lot of those peppers in powdered dried form unless you did it yourself. And I would need a whole plantation in order to make a bottle.
To turn it out. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I ended up with the habanero as a base.
Yep.
I just want everybody to try it. I want everybody to enjoy it. I don't want to burn everybody's face off. I just want everybody to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't had one person say that tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Everybody says that's got great flavor. A lot of people will say, wow, that's too hot for me, but it's got great flavor. Mm-hmm. And even some people who say it's too hot still buy it.
Because
it is. That's really good.
It absolutely is amazing.
They'll use it, or they're like, "Oh, my son, my sister's boyfriend, whatever, he loves hot stuff. He'll love it." So it ends up being purchased anyway, even though that person doesn't particularly like spice. So he would take it literally everywhere. We'd go to restaurants, he'd be sprinkling it on, and it was the ritual at dinner that my father would sit to my left. Every day we sat down to dinner at 5:00. That's what we did. We're Italian. Every night, 5:00 dinner. My father sat to the left of me. He'd sprinkle it on. My mother sat to his left. She'd start sneezing. My brother sat to his left. He'd start sneezing, and then it would hit me. So it was just this round robin of choo, 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 choo.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, Dad, we got it. We got the sneezes out. But
that's great.
It was, So and it's just got such a versatility. It's just amazing how it's you can literally use it on everything. Everything.
And it's funny, like I had recently done a trip out where I had done some fishing specifically to fill the freezer. I had gone out and I caught a couple of beautiful, like 18, 19-inch rainbows, gorgeous rainbow trout. And I went to town with the SPG seasoning that you put out, and seasoned these fish in the cavity and outside, pan fried them. And then I finished them with a little chili crisp and a little dusting of the heat your meat on top, and served it over home fries. And my oldest daughter likes to dabble with some spicier foods. Like she's got a palate that leans a little bit. My youngest is starting to actually get a little bit more experimental. Like if it's a little bit spicy, she'll be like, "Holy cow, let me just have something on hand to kind of, work around it and work through it." My oldest was just like, "This is absolutely out of this world." So that's the other thing too, is that you have the salt-free the salt-free flagship seasonings that come out that are that add just nothing but unbridled flavor to whatever you're adding to it. But you have other products as well. Like you've got the everything but the bagel seasoning, which is popular as hell. Like you can add that to so many things. And what's nice is it's got a little bit more like substance as far as the grains of that. So you also get a texture to it as well. It's great to top dips. And I mean, it's awesome. I love that on eggs, to tell you the truth.
Eggs is awesome. And avocado toast. Circling back to fish.
Yeah.
I'll actually take the everything bagel and I will encrust tuna with it.
Oh, I'll bet you that's awesome.
And then pan sear that. And on the back of the bottle, there's a recipe for a spread and dip.
Yeah.
So I'll make the spread and dip and drizzle that all over the pan seared encrusted tuna. A little bit of avocado and some seaweed salad.
Oh my God.
It's phenomenal. You think you're in a 5-star restaurant. And you can make it as an appetizer. You can make it as a main dish.
Yeah.
But because usually when we go to parties or like Super Bowl, I'll get a couple of things of tuna and I'll cut them into like sticks.
Yep.
And do like that, cut them up, put some cute toothpicks in them and bring them as an appetizer.
That's
People
a
are
good
like,
idea.
what the hell did you bring? I brought deviled eggs. I'm like, it's really not much.
But part of it's the presentation. Part of it is just like, and it's out of this world. So we've used that. The SPG, personally speaking, I think if you're looking to reduce counter space and you're like, I need to do something with this salt shaker or this salt dish and this pepper grinder, throw them in the trash. Just buy SPG for the rest of your life. You won't be sorry. And if the thing is like the SPG seasoning, I've tried them all. I really have. And a lot of this comes down to exactly like I said, trying to save space. So when I camp, this is a situation where like something like SPG is awesome. It's just, you can season everything with it. And it's out of this world. I had, so I'll give you a quick story. I was out camping recently with a friend of the show, Fishing with Becca. And I forgot that Becca is not as adventurous in the spice world. So I made this for dinner this one night. I said, look, I'm bringing my dog. He's going to be too much to handle. I'm just going to set up, hang out with him around the campsite and I'll cook. Don't worry about it. We're good to go. She's like, okay, cool. So for dinner, I made this pasta dish with some Italian sausage, some white beans, some kale, and just for the only heat element I brought to it was just simple crushed red pepper. Love it. Oh, it's a staple in my house all the time. And I apparently was a little heavy-handed because Becca was like, this is really spicy. Fast forward the next morning, and I was like, what am I going to do here? I was like, I got to watch what I've got for seasonings. And I had a bottle of the SPG in there, and I made, I made breakfast tacos is what I made. And just make a big batch of a big scramble, like the filling, and then do the tortillas on the side. Yeah. And it was awesome. And I seasoned, the only thing I used was the SPG. And she was like, this is awesome. This is out of this world. What is it? So I told her all about it. It's just, it's awesome. I think your products are absolutely out of this world. I do want to dive into the outdoors, though, and talk a little bit. You recently were on with our buddy Frankie Provolone on the Slay Nation podcast now, which is pretty awesome. We love Slay and what they're doing, especially with what they're doing, supporting the lady anglers out there with the Lady Slayers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're just a great organization, and we love what's going on with them. Let's talk about your relationship with the outdoors. Like, walk me through that, because that's not actually, I don't think you and I have ever really talked about the outdoors at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's again from the youngest of ages. I've always been an outdoorsman. I've always gone fishing, crabbing. We're right on the shoreline in Guilford, and went down, man down. And sorry,
it's all good. Oh, don't worry about it.
So we're in the shoreline in Connecticut, and then a couple towns north of New Haven, and I've been here all my life, and we've always gone. We're more saltwater, so we've always gone crabbing. We've gone striper fishing, blackfish. Yep. I've been back in the day when there was no limit on blackfish, and we used to go out in my buddy's father's boat. He used to put a 55-gallon drum on the swim platform and said, we're not going in until that thing's full.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we out there fishing, filling that thing with blackfish, and get back. fillet them up, fry them, eat them right there. It couldn't be better. One of the best fish that there is blackfish. Gotta love the tautog. Little self-rising flour, some buttermilk.
I love that.
Perfect.
I love tog because they're the craziest looking fish you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like their teeth.
Yeah, don't put your thumb in there.
No.
You'll lose it. Go back a stump.
It's crazy. And like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think with saltwater fishing specifically, like the keep and eat culture is much, much higher. And also like I don't know what it is about the difference between freshwater fish. Like there's certain freshwater fish that are great eating, there really are.
Yeah, white perch, yellow perch. Oh my God.
Perch, crappie. Oh my God. Yeah. We don't have any waters around here where we can catch walleye that I don't feel like will not give me like, dick cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
So I stay away from walleye over here. But if I'm ever in the Midwest, that's what I'm looking forward to is catching an eater-sized walleye. And I've heard from everybody that walleye is absolutely out of this world. And I'll bet you with a little SPG and heat your meat seasoning, it mixed in the. Now, when you use your seasonings for this, I'm curious, like when you're doing a catch and cook or something, do you season the protein and then season like the flour that you're using with the same seasoning?
I'll season the flour.
Yep.
Like let's say if I do fried weed. So Steve Martins and I from Martin's Custom Baits have been fishing buddies for forever. I've actually known his family all my life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
His two uncles are a couple of my best friends. I went to high school with them.
Yep.
Steve, significantly younger than I am, so I've known him since he was born. His father is one of my friends.
Gotcha.
But he's been a hunting, fishing, and buddy since he was in his teens.
Yep.
So we would go out and do a white and yellow perch smackdown, like around February. There's a cove by us that ice is over, and you go over there, and you could literally walk on top of them. And it's almost not fun because you're like
constantly managing fish. Yeah.
And it's great until you got 300 perch and you got to go home and fillet these sons of bitches.
Clean them, yeah.
Yeah, and then so after you take about 14 dones from your back pain, we'll fry them up and make pulled. So I'll fry them. We'll take them, season the flour, dredge them in there, fry them up, put them on some French bread baguettes with some pickles and some of the heat your meat spread and dip sauce. It is just phenomenal.
That's awesome, man. That sounds out of this world. That sounds out of this freaking world, dude. I love it. Now, as far as like the future for heat your meat, where do you see things going? Like, do you have a sort of a trajectory that you're trying to follow? Like, what's the future hold?
Well, like I said, at this point, this is a complete side hustle for me. I have a full-time job. I'm a heavy equipment mechanic for a electrical outfitters or electrical contractors. Member of the IBEW, Local 42, high voltage electricals. I've been working for the company I work for the past 20 years. And so I'm actually their railroad mechanic. So we have contracts with Metro North, and we replace all the catenary wire, and I fix all their railroad equipment and stuff.
Gotcha.
So that takes up a lot of my time. It's a demanding job. We have a lot of overtime and stuff like that. But, when I don't have work on the weekends, a lot of times, especially during the summer months, I'm doing farmers markets and things like that. But for now, I'm going to keep it kind of even keel. I our relationship with Slay Nation. It gives us a national reach. To places that I would never be able to get to without them. And I am so thankful for the opportunity to be able to work with them. So I'll continue on this path for a little bit. And when I get another 10 years, when I retire, then I'll start. We have a camper. We have a fifth wheel camper. So we'll probably venture off, go around the country and hit the hot hit shows, places like Arizona, there's all these hothead conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
They do the houses and stuff. Hit those and see how it does. I'll sling spices for a living at that point in my life. But at this point, I got to pay my mortgage. I need health benefits. My kids don't,
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And that's a good way to look at it too. It's like, I mean, what you're creating right now really is a great sort of pivot point when you're ready to make that life change and, and go for it. So, man, good for you, dude. That's killer. And I do, my
wife doesn't kill me when I'm retired. I'm like up her ass. What are we doing today?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. You need something to keep you busy. That's exactly sort of why I created this, was just to keep me busy. Exactly. I'm busier than hell right now. And eventually someday I just want to be able to do this constantly, I'll just basically create fishing content and, work with other companies and get behind, different, kind of just growth in general.
But it's all you got to have a happy medium too. Because I noticed over the past few years, all this hustling I'm doing, I'm not able to do the things that I actually love to do, like going fishing, going hunting. The past 3 years I haven't done any goose hunting, duck hunting, or anything like that, and deer hunting has been very minimal.
Yep.
But last year I didn't go fishing at all, except for when we went camping around the little water hole that they have at the campsites or anything, but. I didn't even put the boat in last year because I knew I wasn't going to use it.
That's why. And you're 100% right. Sometimes you just get caught up in the grind. That's why I love this. It happens to work great this time of year for the fishing world because
absolutely.
While obviously ice fishing is its own niche. If aside from that, this time of year you've got expo season, you've got folks are launching a lot of new products and things like that. So it's great to kind of I'm sort of trying to use this time to dive in and be as busy as I can because once spring comes, I want to be out creating more actual fishing content. We've got the multi-species scavenger hunt that's launching in April, so we've got our hands full over here. I do love the fact that you mentioned working with Slay Nation, giving you sort of like that national platform to speak on. The other thing that I think is absolutely amazing, man, is you guys recently had partnered as a featured local business with Dark Horse Tackle. And
that was awesome. I was so thrilled to be in that November box. It was just the coolest thing ever.
Well, and it was funny because I knew it was coming up. We had been talking with the Dark Horse guys, and they had mentioned that was the case. And I expected that they were going to do like a sticker run, and you've got great branding, great logos, and great stickers and stuff. In fact, the package for Columbus showed up, and it was a giant box with a giant Heat Your Meat logo on the side. I was like, that is awesome. I'm like, I know exactly what that is. So, but what I didn't expect in there was to have that smaller, like junior sized sample bottle of the Heat Your Meat seasoning. And what I noticed was when I first opened up that box, I was like, this is awesome. This one's immediately going in my camp box, which is where it resides right now. Mm-hmm. But what I really didn't, I guess I really didn't expect to get my immediate thought, I should say, is that I thought that I'm like, I can see some of the people that I know from different areas being like, oh yeah, I'm going to try this. And then being like, holy shit, this is, because there are people that are out there that I know, friends of mine, that are like, if you give them Frank's Red Hot, they're like, ow. You know what I mean? Yep. Or there are people who think Tabasco is the hottest hot sauce that's out there. Tabasco is delicious. I love Tabasco. I was like, I have to wonder how this is going to go over. And then I started seeing Instagram posts and reels and TikToks, and people were just like, I got, and they do their unboxing, and they're just like, I am loving this seasoning. It is amazing. I think, it made me reflect a little bit on my initial sort of reaction, like people aren't going to be able to handle this, to more of, wow, I wonder if people are actually just like, okay, I'm going to go easy and find that spot where the amount where, because that's the whole thing. A lot of people I feel like when it comes to spicy stuff, folks often put themselves in this box where they're like, nothing spicy. And I'm like, maybe a little bit spicy. Maybe just start with a little bit spicy. It doesn't have to be crazy. You
can't just go from 0 to a million.
No.
You gotta ease into it, especially if you have no tolerance whatsoever.
Yeah.
You can't just dive into the ghost pepper. You gotta you got to start with a jalapeno and work your way up.
Oh yeah.
You can't just dive right in. You're going to be in a lot of pain and go through a lot of toilet paper, and it's going to burn.
I've told people in the past that, like, I like to use this example. There's a hot sauce because, you know, when Hot Ones had sort of blown up on YouTube and got real popular, I was like, dude, I'm going to utilize this as a platform. I love hot sauce. Like, I'll just book interview, you know, guests, and we'll just do this. We'll eat hot sauces back and forth. And I have my list of like some of my favorite hot sauces. Like, I will die on the cross that Dirty Dick's hot sauce is one of the best hot sauces on the planet.
Really? Oh,
it is out of this world, man. And it incorporates like a lot of tropical fruit flavors in there. So there's like a little banana and pineapple and things. It's got really hefty heat, but it's jam packed with flavor, jam packed. It's so good. And then, but I love to use the example of like people will see they're like, oh, this has, you know, this pepper and it's crazy hot. So like scorpion pepper is a great example. There is a sauce, I forget the name of the company, but they make this blood orange scorpion chili sauce, which is out of this world. It's so good. But where on that ingredient list that the actual chili pepper falls is so much further down. So it's not this heavy dosage of capsaicin. You know what I mean? It's not like blowing you out like crazy. Versus I've had other scorpion pepper sauces where it's much higher up. And that's like, I'm reconsidering my life choices at this point. You know what I mean? When you try it. So, but what I feel like about with what you've got, if for all of your offerings, I mean, even everything but the bagel seasoning specifically, like that one packs a punch, more punch than any other everything but the bagel seasoning I've ever had. But I love that. Like, I don't have to add hot sauce.
Right. And it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's not overwhelming heat. And the heat that you get from the heat your meat, it's not, you know, shockingly, no. It's sort of time released. And you know, when it definitely builds, and I give it out at shows, especially my pickles.
Yep.
You know, people try them and they're like, "Wow, this got great flavor." Oh, there it is. There's the heat. I'm like, you get all the flavor up front, and then you get the heat. I don't know the chemical composition of it or why it does it, but it's almost like it's a slow time release.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I got to tell you. So I made recently. It was at the 200th episode. I had there's a couple of I was gifted from a few of the attendees at the show some amazing food products. Close friend of the show, Nelson, had brought me over a couple of his homemade Portuguese chorizos, and I've got one in the freezer. One of them's gone already. That didn't take long. And then I got a bunch of Sarah Pendergast, who's a close friend of the show. Loves Chris and Sarah. They're great. I don't know if Sarah is Italian or not, but she gardens like she is. Yeah, 100%. So I got a text actually the morning of the show from Chris, and he was like, Sarah wants to know, how hot do you want your spicy pasta sauce? And I was like, and I was just in a place that was not a healthy mental state at that point. You know, this is before like a big event that there's been a lot of pressure toward. So I was like, I want this to put my ass in the tub. Like, that's what I'm looking for, like that. And she goes, okay. So she gave me a bottle of sauce. One of them is the Heat Your Meat seasoning sauce, which I haven't even cracked that one open yet because I know it's going to be amazing. The question mark I had, she gave me this one sauce that had, it was a whole Carolina Reaper in there. And I was like, oh God, how rough is this going to be? You know, because as I get older, I find like I can't do that stupid shit with the bomb the way I used to before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I get a little older and I'm a little bit like, all right, so let's treat this with kid gloves a little bit. And first off, that sauce was absolutely out of this world. Secondly, it's gone. I used half a jar of sauce each time I made this recipe. Have you ever made eggs in hell?
Pickled eggs?
No. Eggs in hell. It's almost like a shakshuka. So you'll make like you'll use basically like a tomato sauce with like, you can use some meats and some, you know, diced veggies and things like that. I used a little bit of kale in mine. You basically cook all this stuff down, add the sauce, get everything warmed through, and then you take a spoon and you basically create little pockets and you'll add an egg. in each one and let them kind of just simmer in the sauce. And it's great because you get the soft yolk that kind of runs and gives everything like this like amazing sort of flavor. Well, I used her sauce. I used SPG to season everything because that's what we do now in the Bobby Roast Beef House. And then what else did I use? There was something else. Oh, one of the killer ingredients that I use in my kitchen is smoked paprika. Like that's in my barbecue rub.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. Oh man. It makes everything taste like you roasted it or simmered it all day long. It's just, it's the best. So I put this all together. Now 2 days in a row, I ate this for breakfast and it was out of this freaking world. Absolutely amazing. But what are some of your favorite recipes? You shared a really good recipe with me before, but I want to know like some of your favorite recipes to use your lineup of seasonings.
I mean, my wife is actually the cook of the household. She's I always call her my own personal Giada. She's just
there. You go. Nice.
Awesome. If it was up to her, I'd stay the hell out of the kitchen because apparently I'm too messy of a cook. But I do more appetizers. I do smoking. I'm the camp out cooker.
Gotcha.
So I do stuff like brisket. I'll do smoked things. Shit like that. The queso dip is one of my go-tos. I love the queso dip. It's it's a block of Velveeta, a block of pepper jack, some thing of cream of mushrooms, some crushed tomatoes, onion, and a whole shit ton of heat your meat.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times I'll use mild because I'm making it for a party or something like that. And I do like hot Italian sausage. I'll brown it up and throw it in a tin.
Dude, yes.
And then I'll smoke that whole thing for like 3 hours. Then stir it all up and smoke it another hour or two.
Oh.
And it's just awesome. Serve it up with some of those scoops, the multi-grain scoops.
Oh yeah.
Which are scoops on the freaking world. They're awesome. It's just the greatest.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to look into doing that. I really am.
I send you that recipe in a click.
Yeah,
it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, that's right up my freaking alley.
Sarah, I gave her one of last year. I met her at the Mohegan Sun, and we became quick friends. And so I gave her one of my DIY pickling kits, and she made it, and she's got her own.
Oh yeah, she does.
She does. So she sent me her recipe. I made them. Whenever somebody sends me a recipe, I always make it exactly as give it to me. So I try it, and I'm like, these are really, really freaking good. They were like a mustard.
The mustard pickle, they're out of this world. My kids love them.
So good. So I made it. I tried it, and I'm like, I bet you this would be awesome if I heated it up with some heat in your meat. And so I made it again.
Yep.
But I put heat, and they were outstanding. So I got Sarah's permission. I'm like, can I post this recipe on my website? I will call them the Pender Pickle. She's like, absolutely. So if you go on our website, there's a picture of Sarah there with her Three Bells jersey, and the recipe for the Pender Pickle is on a Heat Your Meat Pender Pickle is on our website.
That is awesome. Oh my God. We around the Jigs and Bigs office, we refer to Sarah's pickles as pickles. We'll let Sarah explain why. But yeah, those mustard pickles are out of this world, and I can definitely see where heating them up a bit with the Heat Your Meat ought to be out of this world. I'm gonna make them. I'm just gonna make them. My kids love her mustard pickles, and I think they would love them even more with the Heat Your Meat. I think they would.
I made them, and I made the original one, and I let my wife try them, and so I handed her the jar, and she tried one, and she gave me a look like, you're not getting this jar back.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I only had one. Wait, where are you going? Where are you going?
That's how it is. Yeah. My youngest daughter, I had a couple of them for when I cracked the jar open, but once it's open, like my youngest daughter, Delaney, is just like mine, and she'll just go and disappear, and she'll come back and it's like licked clean inside.
Yeah.
It's out of this world. She's like, I finished all the pickles. Now I'm just eating the onions that are in there, and it's so good. I'm like, I actually should do a batch of that with eggs and beets.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
That might be interesting.
I actually do have a pickled egg recipe on our website too. I call them hot Humpty Dumpties.
Oh, okay. I see. I love a good pickled egg. Oh,
Yeah.
Out of this world. My wife, not so much, but I love a good pickled egg. My goodness.
Yeah. My wife doesn't like pickled eggs. She definitely doesn't like the result that happens from the.
That's why she doesn't like them. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you having with your beers, honey? Oh, I'm having some pickled eggs.
Like, oh, good. You're sleeping out in the camper tonight.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. That's awesome, man. So let's talk. I mean, you said you haven't fished last year at all. Like, do you have anything like on the bucket list of spots that you want to fish? Like trips that you just have on the agenda that you're like, when I have the time, I'm doing this.
So, when I was younger, we went to a wedding down in Playa del Carmen. And it was a destination wedding. Friends of ours who got married, and we all went down there, and we had the wedding. It was like a week-long wedding and reception.
Oh, yeah.
And we chartered a boat, and we fished the Yucatan Peninsula.
Oh, God.
And it was awesome. I mean, we were catching shit that, big, giant sailfish, and it was just the coolest thing ever. And I want to go back there now.
No kidding.
I want to go again. It was awesome.
That sounds freaking awesome, dude.
Yanking in barracuda, and it was just the coolest thing ever. So the weather didn't suck either. So that was, right now I'm staring out at snow covered everything.
I know.
So yeah, I'd love to go back to blue water and do that again.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Last year I did one of these trips where I was like, I'm going to go a little bit down south, find some open water, do some fishing. So my buddy and I, we put together a trip to go to Chickamauga. We had a great time. And this summer I neglected to make any plans for this winter. So I am kicking myself in the ass for that right now. It sucks. I'm getting out a little bit early, going out to fish Lake Jordan with the Jabberhammer from the Bass and Brews podcast, which will be awesome because he's awesome. I've never met him in person, and we're gonna camp for a few days, and we're gonna fish our asses off. It should be pretty freaking awesome. But that is really, when I go on these trips, one of my favorite things is to cook and to show off like a handful of different recipes and stuff. And I think that I thank you because your products certainly allow me to do that and experiment a little bit more and get a little bit crazy. I think it's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
Let's talk as far as I'm trying to think, like, what are some of these? Oh, you know what? I got a good question for you. This would be an interesting one. So I ask this question periodically of some folks, and there's actually two questions back and forth. One I haven't asked in a long time. We're going to start with that one because I'm interested. So I want to know what your favorite chicken joint is. And when I say chicken joint, it's got to be a spot that like comes out of a gas station or has a drive-through.
So there's a gas station by us, and it's like Chester's Chicken.
Oh, Chester's a classic.
Yeah. So you go in there, you grab either a crispy chicken sandwich or just a 5-pack of fried or Kentucky Fried Style chicken. Awesome.
Oh,
it's awesome. Beat that. And me being I'm always kind of, and I don't have the healthiest lunches all the time. It's either a sub or whatever I can grab.
Look who you're talking to.
Yeah, I like it. Dude, I'll take a 5-piece of the boneless, please, right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I always carry one of the little travelers in my lunchbox because usually I power eat my lunch by like 9, and then I'm looking for something else around lunchtime.
Yep. No. Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense. It's funny. I've asked that question like to so many people, and it's kind of like a barometer. I wait to see if they're like,
Chick-fil-A.
And that's when I know it's like end interview, But I've only ever had one other person say Chester's, and it was my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, dude, he's like, Chester's is great. And I guess for a while, you could get like fried gizzards from Chester's. I don't know that you can at all the locations anymore because
I don't ever seen that.
Yeah, we have one near us. Actually, there's a spot in Connecticut. It's in Southington. damn it, I forget the name of it. I'm gonna look it up as we're talking here, but it's like a barbecue fried chicken spot. It's middle of like no, you'd never know it. It's this tiny little complex. Yeah, it's Southington, I believe. Fried chicken, Southington. I am out of my freaking gourd today. Southington, Connecticut. What is the name of the place? It's not the Hen House. Is it the Hen House? No, it's not the Hen House. I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up, and if I can find it and remember what it is, I'm going to put it in the last segment of the show. It's out of this world. And the thing that makes it out of this world is the sides. My other question for you is this. Like, let's say you're out on the water. Now, I always say, like, I like to chalk it up to two things. There's two reasons to go and have a meal after you've done fishing. One, either, like, it was an amazing day, and you just want to go celebrate, have a good one, and, you know, do so over a good meal. When I caught my PB largemouth, I was with really great company. I was with Chris Tabari. We were like, dude, let's just go get breakfast, you know, and we just sat down. We had great conversation. It was just awesome. The other side of it is like, maybe it was a terrible day of fishing. And, you know, maybe you want to drown your sorrows. Maybe
you just want to punish your body with terrible food.
You know, who knows what it is? What is that mom and pop stop like near your area where you're going to go to for a meal? Like, make a recommendation for me.
So 99% of the time after we go out, it's on a Sunday.
Yep.
And, you know, we'll take my son, my wife, we'll actually go out, we'll go fishing or whatever. And 99% of the time we hit Chinese on the ride home.
Really? After fishing? Okay. All right. I can get down with that.
So I'm like, you know what? We were fishing all day. I got to go home and clean all this shit. The last thing I want to do is prep something too.
Yep.
We'll save that tomorrow, bag everything all up. But usually, usually I would give a couple of like striped bass to the guy at the Chinese food place, and he'd give me a little something on the side.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, yep. So usually if I had a load of crabs, or if I had a load of striper or a load of fluke or something like that, I give him a couple of fillets, a couple of crab, and you get all excited and give him, take this one. This one's for free. This one's on me.
That's
take
awesome.
a bottle of soda. It's all okay.
That's kick ass. What's your go-to order?
I'm shrimp egg foo young.
Shrimp egg foo young. No kidding. That's all right. Not bad. I got it. You know, it's funny, man. I have this theory that I came into recently. We recently ordered one of my favorite cuisines on the planet is Indian. I love Indian food. It's so good. There is a dish that you can find, and it varies in style. It's called chicken 65, and it's like a small boneless piece of chicken, and it's got like a spicy sauce. I almost feel like it's the Indian answer to like General Tso's. I genuinely feel like it could take over as the new General Tso's for Gen Z. It's out of this world. I just texted my wife that chicken spot. It's called the Hen House. I highly recommend it.
I know exactly where that is because I got to drive through Southington to get to where I work. I've passed by that place a ton of times.
That is, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, the sides out of this world. They have gizzards, and it's out of this world, dude. It's so good. It's so good. And tiny little hole in the wall. Cannot recommend enough. The Hen House.
Definitely gonna have to try that.
I love it, man. This is good stuff. I love it. Marc, thank you so much for doing this, dude. This is really, really fantastic.
No problem.
Now, you sent us not one, not two, but 3 bundles for the Columbus show. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that we are bringing more flavor to the state of Ohio than the first time Public Enemy played Cleveland.
Well, originally you had said you were doing like 3 lives throughout the year, and you were gonna do the giveaway.
Yep.
And I kind of hopped on board. I wanted to, we were talking about doing the giveaways and stuff. So you had mentioned the 200 amp episode, and then just a change for the year. So figured give you those 3 and do with them what you wish.
We're gonna have a good time with it.
here. If you want to do it at that one show, it's all up to you.
Yep. We may save one to do at the Springfield show. That might be worthwhile. We might do that and do a little giveaway. Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna keep one of those back because it's 2 weeks after Columbus that we'll be doing that. So I'll keep one of them in the office, and then I'll put a graphic up on our screen that'll be running at the booth. You should come by if you're in the area. You should come by.
So last year we went, and I believe we actually talked to each other.
Yeah, I think we did.
You know, I had never met you guys or anything like that, and we definitely hadn't had any interaction at the time. I was there with my son, and but we were planning on going again this year.
Oh, nice, so, perfect.
If that's the case, I will definitely swing by.
Yeah,
we'll definitely have a lengthy chat. That'd be awesome.
I love it, dude. Absolutely, man. Hey, maybe you know what I'll do? Maybe I'll make some snack, because that's the one thing I'm doing different this year. I'm bringing my cooler. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm bringing some snacks because I spent so much money on jerky. I mean, granted, I will go to the Jerky Hut, and I will, it seems like there's always different vendors for jerky that are in there, and a lot of exotics, which I'm all about. Like kangaroo jerky is one of the best jerkies out there under elk. You know,
I'll tell you, if I'm making it a point that I'm going up to the Springfield show, I do jerky.
Really?
I make jerky for specific events, specifically to Guilford Fair. I always make jerky for.
Oh yeah.
I heat your meat jerky. I'll make some jerky and I'll bring it up to you. You let me know what you think of it.
Oh hell yeah, man! That is you got it, brother. I love that.
I have 2 different jerky recipes on my website.
Yep.
One is the original one. It's basically a teriyaki recipe. It's phenomenal. It just really is. And that marinade itself, you can use it on steak, you can use it on chicken.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome beef jerky marinade. Then I have another one that I replace the teriyaki with maple and Fireball whiskey. It's out of this world. Out of this world.
Oh wow.
As a jerky, it's phenomenal. As a steak marinade, it's phenomenal. It's really
dude, I'll bet you on a turkey breast smoked. I'll bet you that would be out of this world. And then just sliced thin for sandwiches. Oh my God. Hello. Mark, this was absolutely awesome, dude. Do me a favor. Let folks know where, if they want to sample your products, like where is the best place to find you? What do you recommend they get into? Go for it.
Absolutely. So you can always find us on heatyourmeat.net is our website, www.heatyourmeat.net. That's where our website is. You can read our story, how it's a veteran-owned company. My father started it. My brother was he's the one who made it world famous by taking it to Japan when he was in the Navy. But all of our products are on there. You can get our pickling kits. You can get our everything bagel seasoning, our rubs, Heat Your Meat SPG, and the original Andy's world famous Heat Your Meat, as well as the mild. We're on Instagram at Heat Your Meat. We are on Facebook at Heat Your Meat Fans. And we also have the Heat Your Meat Hot Seat on Instagram, which features all the big bass winners for the week of the Slay Nation tournaments across the country. So we always try and highlight the big bass winners, the Heat Your Meat Big Bass champion for the week on that site, on that page.
That's freaking awesome, man. You're making it happen, dude. And I see a good future for you in the world of seasonings and improving the overall flavor in the world. I think you're making a huge contribution, and you're changing the flavor profile of what Americans eat on a regular basis, and I think that's awesome.
So at the bottom of our label, it says Heat Your Meat. Andy's world famous Heat Your Meat. It's our contribution to global warming.
Yeah, I love it. Hang on. You deserve it. Perfect. Dude, thank you so much, man. If you could, do me a favor. Send me a pic of you holding a giant from one of your fishing trips anytime. Or like if you have a promo photo, even a promo photo of the product, like you holding the product or something like that, send it my way because we'll use it for the artwork for this episode.
I got a picture of me holding a 42-inch striper. I got to find it. It's freaking awesome.
Nice.
So
I love it, dude.
I got to search for it. My old Facebook page got hacked, so a lot of my pictures got lost.
Oh, that's shitty.
search for it and find it. I'll send that to you because that one's awesome.
Awesome, dude. That sounds good. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope we see you in Springfield. We're gonna be definitely pushing your stuff hard at the Columbus show, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm actually gonna be going up to cook a little breakfast now and put some of your products to use, and I have to put in an order soon, so that's gonna be coming probably later this week. But thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate you, dude. You have a good one, and we'll see you guys on the other side of this. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef, Jigs and Bigs. Man, it's episode 202. We just heard from Marc Sorano. That was a great interview. And I'll tell you what, I'm really excited because Mark had sent up a box. You know, at the 200th episode, we gave away this branded, like, Heat Your Meat bag that had, I think, 4 or 5 different of the varieties. It was basically everything that they have on the website for the most part, as far as different seasonings available for you to try. He sent up 3 of those this time. So I think the plan is we're going to do 2 of them at Columbus, and then we're going to save 1 to give away at Springfield at the Sportsman show. You know, we're going to mix it up. And Mark had said in the interview that, or I don't know if he recorded this or not. I don't know if this is in the part that we recorded or not. I think it was. He had mentioned that that he may come up to Springfield and just do a walk around. In fact, I kind of realized, I was like, I've talked to Mark before. We actually, I think, Joe, you might have talked to him too at the booth at Springfield last year. In Springfield.
Connecticut?
No. It was Springfield.
No, Springfield.
Oh, he was in Connecticut too. You might have talked to him there as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, he's going to come up and do that. He may drop off some jerky at the Springfield booth, so that would be awesome. I'm down with that. Yep. But yeah, great interview. I think we're going to give away a prize there. I think we're going to give away a prize in 2 of them in Columbus. So good stuff right there. I did also hear from Erin, the winner of the Heat Your Meat prize from the 200th episode, and she was, I guess that was the prize. And she was like, man, if there's something up here, I hope I win. I hope it's that. And she did. So she was stoked. Yeah. Very, very happy. Man, just, it was a great interview. I did have something cool that kind of happened. This is like, for you fishing folks in Western Massachusetts that are listening to this show, you know, this is something that It's fishy news that you can just geek out over. So nobody is a stranger in the Northeast to the name algag. Algag is a fishing staple. And I had, for a short period of time, I actually was coworkers with Algag working at Channel 22. I've actually, you know, for some promos for things that he's done and stuff, I've actually worked on the production for, which is kind of cool. This week, my phone rang. And this is after my interview with Doug about the Springfield Sportsman show. And Doug had gone and sent out my contact info to a bunch of folks. And Al was one of them. And Al Gag calls me up. He's on the other line of that phone. He's like, yeah, Bobby, I got a message. He's like, I'd like to get onto your podcast, Jigs and Bigs. And I'm like, holy shit. Now I have to wonder if Al would listen to this show and say like, nah,
I'm reconsidering. I don't know if this is a good look for me,
or what. But I'm gonna take advantage of it. So yeah, he's on the calendar to record with us. So we've got Al Gag, fishing royalty, and this is what's cool. A lot of folks, this was sort of a buzz locally. Al Gag was recently inducted into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame just like a few weeks ago, I think. And like, that's a big deal, man. Yeah. That's really fucking cool. And it's super cool because he's just like a dude from Western Mass that is crazy passionate about fishing, making baits. And I'll tell you what, like there's probably... I'll bet you there's a sizable percentage of anglers in Western Massachusetts right now that have an Algag shad dart in their tackle collection somewhere. You know, I'll bet you that's the situation. So when I got off the phone with him, I made sure to text you guys. I was like, you guys will never guess who the fuck I was on the phone with. I never expected this shit to happen. It's very, very cool. So I'm looking forward to that interview. Should be a lot of fun. I've seen Al, like I've seen him at the station before. I've seen him out at the expos and shit all the time. I'm really looking forward to this. This kind of checks like a bucket list box for me as far as this podcast goes, because I sort of feel like this is kind of a big deal. You know, it's kind of cool. So I like that. That's pretty awesome. Guys, thank you for being part of the show. Do you guys have anything you want to wrap up with before we kick it to the outro?
Got nothing.
All good here.
I got the green light, guys. We will see you guys in 7 days or more speed quizzing smartphone trivia. We got a question here. Guy Madison says, Bobby, when will you be in Columbus? We're coming up. We'll be there for the weekend of the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. And we're going to have ourselves a great time. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So join us at the Columbus Fishing Expo, February 9th, 10th, and 11th. On the 10th, we're at Old Fields. Old Fields is a classic Columbus pub, and we're kind of taking over there. Jigs and Bigs is doing a live recording. In fact, I was talking with Doug, and I don't know if this is going to happen this year, but we may do something like this in Springfield in 2025. You were talking about the idea of doing something like this, and he's kind of interested in it, so it should be good. Guy, it'd be great to see you, man. Make sure to come out to Old Fields because I've got some sampler little sample packs of Reaction Tackle Braid. You can take the Reaction Tackle Braid Challenge and find out if you like it. And also, even if you're not going, make sure, I'm going to put a link in the description of this show. You can get your tickets to enter the raffle to win some fabulous prizes. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, let's talk about prizes because we have some really, really good stuff. So we have, I mentioned we have a little gift pack from Reaction Tackle with some tungsten shaky heads. We got a small bait binder in there. We also have a huge pack of 5-inch stick baits in green pumpkin. We have I'm gonna save what I think might be the best for last. We have Klondike Custom Creations popping a prize in there. Matt had a little snafu on his end, wasn't able to get up to the 200th episode, so his prize never made it to the prize table. So we're rolling it into this raffle here. So he's got some stuff we're going to put together. We've got a Heat Your Meat sample pack. We're actually giving away 2 of those at Old Fields. You're not going to want to miss out. You want to enter this raffle. There's some great stuff in there. And if the conversation with Marc Sorano did not inspire you to want to at least sample his wares, then I don't know how you get by in life. You should 100% enter the raffle and win some great stuff. We have 3 prizes coming from Omnia Fishing. We've got some Omnia swag, some t-shirts and stuff, but we also have a subscription to their app. And their app is awesome. Like, yes, there's a shopping element to there, so it kind of streamlines your ability to shop for gear through Omnia. But their app also has a lot of really freaking cool resources as far as mapping goes and breaking down other bodies of water. Like the layers on this are it's just amazing. And there's so much you can do with that pro trial. So the subscription's going with that. That's pretty awesome. And then, dare I say, the headliner. We have a Dark Horse Tackle
quarterly box
that's going to the winner. We have a Dark Horse Tackle quarterly box. It's going to be good stuff, guys. I'm looking forward to it, man. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Link is going to be in the description, so you guys can check that out. We got great prizes. It's going to be so cool. I'm very, very excited. We're going to have some fun, Joe. There's going to be a little bit of debauchery, for sure.
Lots of it.
Yeah, there is. I don't know what Adam Blomeke is thinking, but apparently he's bringing like a bunch of stuff that will injure the digestive tracts of all of us. And I'm not talking about sardines on a plane. Like, he's bringing like some pretty extreme hot sauces and stuff. I don't know what this is. This is going to be interesting.
Okay. All right.
But I'm stoked. There's a bunch of you guys that have been in the Dark Horse Tackle Columbus Expo group chat that I can't wait to meet. We're going to have a good time. And I'm going to interview every single one of you guys. Dave Urkey is going to be there. I can't wait to meet that dude. I've been talking to him like nonstop since, really for months now, it seems. Guys, we're going to wrap this sucker up. We will see you in 7 days with more Jigs and Bigs goodness. We're going to be featuring some pretty amazing guests that'll be at the Springfield Sportsman show, as well as a bunch of other ones peppered in there as well. And don't forget, March is going to be here before you know it, and soon after that, April. And then it's 2024 multi-species scavenger hunt season. Get it, and you're going to want to register as soon as you can. We'll see you guys. We will see you in 7 days for more Jigs and Bigs goodness. If you're out there on the ice, you're catching fish, you're out there and you're catching them open water, tag us in your post, please. Let us know. Let us live a little vicariously through you, and we'll gladly like and comment and share your stuff. Every social media account you can follow us is at Jigs and Bigs, and remember, you can also get your tickets for that raffle. Link in the description here, jigsandbigs.com, or if you're on Instagram, it's the link is also in our bio. Have yourselves a great one, everybody. Take good care of yourself. Stay warm, and like we always say, that's the wrong button, Bobby.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.